Good evening. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to what should be a very fun evening as we will watch two teams that are fighting for playoff contention clash. We have the number one overall pick from last year's class versus the number two overall pick in last year's class, who gets to play because of some unique circumstances after being benched. And that's going to present itself with what should hopefully be a very entertaining game this evening. So the game will officially start in 11 minutes. I encourage everyone to watch the game along and react with me. But before that, we are going to give a little bit of a breakdown of what we expect to see tonight. So I want to start with some key players. Starting with the Jaguars side, we do have Trevor Lawrence, a key piece to what they have been doing over the last few weeks. He has really taken a huge step up in his second year. Travis Etienne had a really strong middle stretch of the season, then kind of slowed down a bit, but he's coming back into a solid performance last week, going over 100 yards. Zay Jones, I have listed as he has been on fire the last few weeks. The connection with him and Lawrence has been very strong as of late. So has Christian Kirk, who at the beginning of the year, some people doubted the signing, but he has been doing very well, very consistent this season. And Evan Ingram has really been a solid tight end over the last few weeks. He has been getting in the end zone as well. And on the defensive side of the ball, they are going to be without some key players tonight. But Josh Allen, not the quarterback, but the edge rusher from Kentucky for the Jacksonville Jaguars, going to be a huge piece for that pass rush. Tyson Campbell has been an absolutely solid corner this season. Top 10, debatably from the PFF grade. Very, very good, especially after Shaquille Griffin goes down for them for the year. He has stepped up. Andre Sisco really performed well. He's been developing after being drafted out of Syracuse. He's got 3 picks this season. We'll see what he has in his bag tonight. He could potentially be looking to steal some gifts by taking the ball away. Foye Oluokun has been the team's leading tackler this season. That was a big signing for them, and he is going to hopefully have an impact tonight. And Arden Key, I see as an X factor this evening, had a very strong preseason. Trayvon Walker, the number one overall pick from this season, is out. And so that is going to be a huge loss for them. But I think Arden Key, a veteran who's bounced around the league a little bit, will certainly have an opportunity to step up. So now let's jump over to the Jets side, where we look at their key players on offense. Zach Wilson, last year's number 2 overall pick, was benched this season, but he is back as Mike White is dealing with an injury. Garrett Wilson has been the team's number 1 receiver, performing very well as a rookie from Ohio State this season. Connor McGovern, on what has been an overall lackluster offensive line, especially since the injury of Elijah Vera Tucker, he has been performing as a top 10 center. So that is key that he performs well tonight to make sure Zach Wilson stays safe. Elijah Moore, at one point he maybe wanted out of the team, but when he's playing, he's an X factor. I liked him coming out of Ole Miss. He really has the ability to get some great plays going. And Tyler Conklin as a tight end. They have 2 decent tight ends between him and CJ Uzoma. It's important that they get him the ball in the red zone. And on the defensive side of the ball, Sauce Gardner has been locked down this season. One of the best rookies we have seen in a while, and he is living up to all of the expectations that were put on him. Debatably one of the best corners this season of any player, let alone rookies. Quinnen Williams, put the asterisk because I didn't know for sure whether he's playing. He is active this week, and that is huge for them because he is a difference maker, an Aaron Donald level force on the defensive side of the ball, and that is going to be key for them, especially since the Jaguars' interior offensive line is not necessarily incredibly strong. Now, John Franklin Myers is a do-it-all type of guy on the defensive line. He can line up an edge. He can get inside a little bit. He is a very, very good player, especially being a versatile role in this defense. Now, DJ Reed, opposite of Sauce Gardner, has also had a very solid season. I was looking at earlier today, combined, those two have only allowed 3 touchdowns, but we'll see what happens tonight when they go up against some top receivers. It's going to be key that DJ Reed performs well. And C.J. Mosley started his signing, his tenure here, not necessarily the strongest, but he has really performed well this season, at least making tackles and leading the defensive side of the ball. And now we are going to highlight what could be slowing these teams down: the injuries. For the Jets side, they are, of course, missing Mike White, who did take over Zach Wilson a few weeks ago, but since he has been hurt, Zach Wilson is back in the lineup. They are also missing two receivers that, to me, are rotational level players that could impact a little bit of this game. Jeff Smith, who had a huge play last week against the Lions, is out, and Denzel Mims as well is injured this evening. That's going to require a player like Braxton Berrios to step up this evening. Brandon Echols on the defensive side kind of takes away some of that depth in the corner room. That is huge. And last second, the only one that was not necessarily confirmed earlier today is LaMarcus Joyner, who is a starter for this Jets team on defense, has been a starter all season, is out. That's going to require some more opportunity for a player like Ashton Davis, who was taken out of Cal a few years ago. Hard hitter. We'll see what he can do this evening. And for the Jags, they are as well missing some key pieces. Specifically, Trayvon Walker, the number 1 overall pick from this season, really needed to develop. He was not necessarily a pro-ready guy, but they took him for the upside, and he has been a pretty good pick overall. I mean, not necessarily getting the huge impact like a Sauce Gardner has for the Jets, but he has definitely been a difference maker, and so losing him is huge. So they are going to have to rely on Josh Allen, and once again, a guy like Arden Key is going to have to step up there. Cam Robinson is a huge injury for this team. It turns out he may in fact be out for the rest of the season. That is very unfortunate for the Jaguars. It's going to be Walker Little who takes the step up this evening, and we'll talk about him later. Walker Little has not had a ton of time, and did not have a ton of time in college either. Dealt with some injuries, some opt-outs. So we'll see what he is. He was taken in the second round last year, though, so he obviously has some potential. And Foley Fatukasi, a former Jet, signed a big contract. He is out this evening. That means they're going to have to rely on other defensive line depth, such as Roy Robertson-Harris, Adam Gotsis, and Corey Peters this evening. So those are all the factors that we need to consider. And with that being said, I want to discuss what my pick is. I am going with the Jaguars this evening. It's going to be a very close game, and I've been torn on this all week because I think Zach Wilson is going to put up a solid performance. But I just think the Jaguars have some momentum right now. I think that they're going to be fighting for that division spot. I would certainly, for the line, take this here. They are the underdogs this evening, but that is going to be my pick for tonight. So you might be wondering where these two teams are standing right now. So we'll take a look at this again later, but let's take a look at what the current playoff picture is looking like in both the AFC and the NFC. AFC side, we have a few clinch spots, more so on the NFC, but we're really focusing on the AFC side tonight when it comes to this game. Both teams are next to each other there on the bottom in the hunt category. As the Jets here basically have to fight for a wild card, as the Jags' best chance to get in is winning the division. They're currently a game back from the Titans. They need to get a little bit more momentum from potentially seeing the Titans lose a few more games, and that doesn't help the Titans. That Ryan Tannehill's out. They will be turning to rookie Malik Willis, but the Jags are potentially able to get the 4 seed if they can get into the playoffs. So that will be something we will talk throughout the night. But with that being said, that's the preview for tonight's game. It's going to be a very intriguing matchup between these two teams who both are looking to make the playoffs. I think that this team on both sides will have something to fight for. There's a lot of players to potentially look at that have some motivation. One I have been seeing, though, which is interesting, James Robinson not activated for the Jets. That would have been an interesting revenge game to potentially see, but we do not get that opportunity to see that this evening. So let's go ahead and let's take a look further at a few more highlight players. Let's kind of break down what we're looking at from each team, starting with the Jaguars. At the quarterback position, they have Trevor Lawrence, who has, according to PFF, been a top 10 quarterback this season. Over the last few weeks, he certainly has been performing very well. And He has 24 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. Certainly a huge step up from the quarterback in his second year. You love to see it. And that is really, he's been the key piece of why they've been gaining some momentum recently. But at the running back position, they have Travis Etienne, who has been about the 24th best running back. They really have been looking to involve him in the receiving game as well, giving him 27 catches for 200 yards. He's nearing 1,000 yards on the ground with 4 touchdowns. He definitely will be looking to have some yards this evening. And I feel like when he performs well, that's when the team kind of gets another step up. And when it comes to who's catching the ball, 4 guys to watch out for. Zay Jones, 4 touchdowns in the last 2 games. He's bounced around a little bit with the league, with the Bills and the Raiders, but then he gets to Jacksonville, and over the last few games, he has been on fire. Christian Kirk, nearing 1,000 yards. He may get to 1,000 this evening, and 7 touchdowns on the season. Perhaps their most experienced, most consistent, I would say, overall on the team here, as Marvin Jones offers a veteran name in this room. He's having an okay season with 400 yards and 3 touchdowns. And Evan Ingram at the tight end position with 200 yards in the last 2 games. So he's been kind of hot and cold, especially in New York he was, but he has recently been doing very, very well. Now, up front, I think will be the story of the night for the Jaguars, specifically that left tackle spot. Walker Little, having his 4th career start, his first of the season, is certainly going to throw things for a loop a little bit. They have Walker Little there at left tackle coming out of Stanford. Some people kind of avoided him because he opted out, had some injury issues. He really had not that much film, but they took him in the 2nd round, and now he really gets a chance. He hasn't really had much opportunity due to Cam Robinson, but now that he is out, watch out for Walker Little this evening. That's going to be huge if he can defend the opposition on the edge. And they also have Tyler Shatley at guard, who's been an all-right player this season. Luke Fortner, a rookie, a 3rd-round pick, who has been performing all right as well. They have 5-time Pro Bowler Brandon Sheriff at the right guard spot, who they brought in from Washington this year. And they have Jawan Taylor, who has been here for a few years now on the offensive side. Up front defensively, they have Josh Allen, who's going to have to take a huge step up because of the absence of Trayvon Walker. They also have Roy Robertson Harris, who they brought over from the Bears last year, and he has had over 500 snaps this season. He's been involved on that defense. What I think will be interesting is the rotation. Good teams always have a rotation of guys up front and in the pass rush area. They have Dwayne Smoot, who also steps in here. He's been the 45th best edge rusher this season, according to PFF. And I think the X factor is going to be Arden Key, who is a top 30 edge per PFF this season. And then they have Devon Hamilton, who they took out of Ohio State, and he is a top 30 defensive lineman. As kickoff has officially started, so we're going to resume the breakdown later as we kind of see fit. But it is Trevor Lawrence who gets the ball first here for the Jacksonville Jaguars. And this is going to be interesting to see what they can do right off the bat. They're going to be facing up against the Jets. We'll see what the play call is here. First game, they're rocking the whiteouts. First play of the game here. We're going to have Trevor Lawrence. He's under center. We have a motion, another motion from Christian Kirk. They're going to hand it off to Travis Etienne. He cuts left, gets about 5 yards on the ground. And I really now want to highlight maybe some of the Jets' defensive players of what Jacksonville's going to be going up against, specifically up front. Quinnen Williams is going to be a dominant force. Carl Lawson has had 6 sacks this season. John Franklin Myers has been all over the place. He can line up anywhere. He's had 4 sacks as well. Sheldon Rankins at nose tackle. He's been nearly a top 20 defensive lineman according to PFF. And Jermaine Johnson and Bryce Huff are 2 X factors to watch out for, who kind of have some speed on the edge. So Lawrence is going to hand it off to Etienne, and he is going to be stuffed by Carl Lawson there. Coming off the edge, a kind of group tackle with C.J. Mosley there, as they now enter 3rd down for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Looking at this play again, it is going to be Walker Little who kind of gets exposed here. He is going to line up there, but it's kind of in that area. It is Evan Ingram, who kind of maybe isn't able to read the assignment. Him and Walker Little kind of made a miscommunication perhaps there. Kind of Walker Little tried to chip Lawson, and Ingram couldn't get over in time, so they really weren't able to block it. But Lawrence now going to snap it, rolls out to his right, and he is sacked. And he was down for sure, I believe, unless it is actually a fumble. Quinnen Williams with the pressure up the middle. And it looks like that might be Jets ball. A strip sack from Quinnen Williams. Wow. What a play from the Jets defense. Unbelievable job. Let's see this again here. Going up, I believe, against here. It looks like Tyler Shatley. And, wow. He just rips right through. Wraps around the edge, strips it, and Carl Lawson picks up the fumble. Carl Lawson now with a tackle for loss, almost, I believe, and a fumble recovery. What a play from Quinnen Williams. Wow. And Trevor was not down there, and so that's an unfortunate break, as now the Jets will get the ball at good field, and, they are obviously led here by Zach Wilson. It's his second game after the benching, and we'll see what he can do. He's had 6 touchdowns, 6 picks this year, so we'll see if he can kind of get a bounce back going. And from the 20, they're going to hand it off. No, it's a read option here from Zach Wilson right up the middle, going to be stopped by Devin Lloyd in the backfield, along with Devon Hamilton. Had some pressure there to kind of stop the run. They go with a read option look there. Potentially was going to give it to Zonovan Knight, and he takes it himself. I think when we look at that Jets QB room, it's interesting because Zach has had, the better overall record, but they seem to be playing better with Mike White. I will be interested to see what they're able to do this evening. Now, the Jets are going all black here, basically, with a little bit of green. We got a motion from Elijah Moore. They're going to hand it off to Zonovan White, who is able to get over there for about maybe 5 yards. Zonovan Knight there on the carry. Tackled by Arden Key, who is going to be important once again with the absence of Trayvon Walker. And Mike LaFleur is the Jets offensive coordinator for this team. Let's take a look at the Jets offensive line, who I think will be key matching up against that Jags D-line. They have, honestly, not a super great roster besides Connor McGovern. Nobody else in the top 50 at their position, specifically lacking at the tackle areas. But we've got, it looks like Michael Carter to the left, and that is going to be a sack. Andre Sisco, coming off the safety blitz, is going to get to Zach Wilson. That is huge for them, potentially holding them to a field goal. They had Carter to the left in the backfield out of the shotgun. Sisco kind of sneaks up there, and Fant steps inside to block some inside pressure, and that leaves Sisco wide open to go sack the quarterback. So that's huge there. It's going to be a kicker. It's going to be the kick here from Greg Zuerlein. He's had about an 82% field goal percentage this season, and it is going to be good. Just barely gets inside the right uprights there, but that kick is good. That's going to make the game 3-0 for the New York Jets. Let me update this scoreboard here for you guys. And it is 3-0. So there we go. It is 3-0 now for the Jets, and they get on the board after a fumble from Trevor Lawrence. And so let's take a look at what the Jets are working with offensively. So you can see there. Let's go back to this offensive line. They have Dwayne Brown, who they brought in this season, veteran guy, has played for the Texans for a long time, played for Seattle recently, and he has not necessarily been great this season according to PFF. Same with Laken Tomlinson, who they brought back on a contract. He is here as well for the Jets. And then they have Connor McGovern, who has been kind of the only bright spot, at least from a PFF grade standpoint. He has been a top 10 center. They paid him coming out of Denver a few years ago. They brought him from the Broncos, and he has been a solid performer for them. Now, Nate Herbig is very interesting. He bounced around. He was with the Eagles for a little bit. he gets a starting spot now. He's kind of getting into that role. I mean, he is not like a top 50 guard, but I guess for a player who's kind of risen from the bottom, that's pretty impressive. And George Fant has been a lackluster tackle there. This line has been hit hard, whether it was Mekhi Becton at the beginning of the year or Elijah Vera Tucker. Both have been huge knocks, because otherwise I think they'd have a little bit better protection. Let's jump back to the running backs on that Jets offense. They have Zonovan Knight, who has been the leading rusher over the last 4 weeks. He kind of just took over out of nowhere. Like the week before that, he didn't even have any carries, and all of a sudden he just becomes the lead back in this backfield. After Breece Hall was having a great beginning of the season, he gets hurt, and then this backfield kind of becomes wide open as Michael Carter, who they took early out of UNC last year, just hasn't really been able to take the bull by the horns and really take advantage of the opportunity. He's only has 390 yards and 3 touchdowns, and so Zonovan Knight has kind of took over. Nicknamed Bam, he has been the leading rusher over the last few weeks. And when it comes to who is catching the ball for that team, they have a lot of weapons. Garrett Wilson, in his rookie season out of Ohio State, nearing 1,000 yards. He might hit that tonight. Elijah Moore has about 400. He was away from the team for a bit, and then he got back in there. Corey Davis coming back off an injury, a top 50 receiver per PFF. And then Tyler Conklin with 3 touchdowns this season. Him and Uzoma are huge for getting this offense going. That's who they have in that area. And that's going to conclude the Jets' offense. So when they get back on the field here, let's take a look at what the Jags will be matching up against on the defensive side. We kind of talked about what they have, on the way front there. So then at the linebacker spot, C.J. Mosley has been their leading tackler. Quan Alexander with 61 tackles as well. 8 tackles for loss for Quincy Williams, who did dress up as the Grinch this evening. We have a return from Jamal Agnew. He gets to about the 26, and the Jags will walk back out on the field. And let's just conclude here with the secondary of what they're facing. Sauce Gardner, number 1 corner per PFF as a rookie. DJ Reed has been a top 20 corner. Very solid performance from both of them. Michael Carter, who steps in as kind of that slot guy, top 20 corner as well. They have 3 top 20 corners, which is huge. Jordan Whitehead has been a consistent safety. And Will Parks, I believe, is going to be who kind of steps in this evening. Pulled off the practice squad today for the secondary there. He's a hard hitter. And we have a play action going to fire at left. It's going to be caught by Evan Ingram at about the 29-yard line. Tackled by Quincy Williams. And that's going to start what will hopefully be a better drive this drive that for the Jags than it was the last one. So they are going to line up here in the shotgun. ETN to his left, 3 receivers to his right. They're going to hand it off to ETN, who goes up the middle, is going to run for about 3 and be about 2 yards short of the first down. He's going to be tackled by a group of Jets, including Quincy Williams again, another former team member there, as Zach Wilson does talk next to Joe Flacco on the bench. Doug Peterson, the play caller, going to be 3rd down and 1. Looks like they're highlighting Walker Little again. He did perform well on this play, getting up there against C.J. Mosley. He's going to be a difference maker, because if he performs poorly, it's going to make it difficult for the Jags, and if he performs well, that is going to make it, kind of an unexpected great performance. They're going to fake the handoff pass to Evan Ingram, who almost drops it again, but he is running now to the 45-yard line. A huge game for Ingram, number 17 there. Fakes the pass, and they go to Ingram on the little check down. They had looks like a 2 tight end set. They had Manhertz and Ingram there. Had a little motion across the way, and wow, that was an impressive throw from Lawrence, able to get rid of it before the pressure. They're going to hand it off to ETN here for 4. That was a very impressive play from Lawrence. He had pressure in his face, but he was able to get it over to Ingram, who was running on the play to the left there. Wow, that was they went 2 tight end set, and it worked out. They get the ball to one of them. Manhertz is a good blocker, and that's why they had him in there to make sure he could seal the edge on that side. They're going to go here. It looks like with Dan Arnold, I believe, is also out there at tight end, which is interesting. And then they're going to fire it deep here to Marvin Jones. It is not caught. That was almost catchable. But Jordan Whitehead there on the defense, able to break it up with DJ Reed, specifically made the play. Perhaps it was Whitehead maybe a little late getting back over there, but DJ Reed able to perform very well. He kind of gets some nice using his hands there to get in the position, and then he's able to get in there, stop the play. Jordan Whitehead got over there at the end, but it was a catchable ball for Jones, I believe, but then Reed kind of made it an uncatchable ball by the end of it. So kind of a tag team effort there. DJ Reed performing well. We have 3 receivers to the right. It's a handoff to Etienne, who gets some open space, crossing the 30, going to the 25, drops the ball, and gets to the 21-yard line for the Jaguars. That's going to move the chains, and that is going to propel this offense forward. They keep highlighting Walker Little. I mean, he has been highlighted about 4 times in a matter of 2 drives. This time, a very good pull, able to seal the edge on Franklin Myers. That was an impressive block. And then Etienne getting an open space. He kind of bobbled the ball for a moment, but he was able to hold on to it. So now we have a motion. Kirk to the right. They're going to go under center. And it's a jet sweep to Christian Kirk, who's going to cut to the left, get outside, and get to about the 17-yard line. Nice little gain there. They have Manhertz again out there to get some blocking. They go with a little jet sweep there. And so Christian Kirk, he was near 1,000 yards on the receiving end, but he's also getting the ball on the ground, it seems, here at 26 years old. 2nd and 6 now for the Jaguars. We have the play call from Trevor. They're going to go 3 receivers right again. And they're going to have Etienne to the right here in the shotgun. We have almost didn't get the snap off, but fakes the handoff. They go read option to Lawrence. Not going to get a ton, maybe a solid 3 or 4 yards there from Lawrence. They go to read option. So that's going to bring it to 3rd down for the Jacksonville Jaguars. That was a really interesting exchange to me. That was a pretty good fake. It looked like Etienne even had it. Kind of hit there by Michael Carter and Franklin Myers at the end there. So 7 attempts for 38 yards is what the Jags have currently so far this evening. As now we have JaMychal Hasty in the game to his left. Kirk motions to the right, so it's 2 receivers on each side of him. Looking to the right all the way, fires it to the end zone. That is going to be overthrown. Intended for Christian Kirk on the play, but Trevor Lawrence, a little too much on it, kind of played it safe there. And the field goal unit going out there, led by Riley Patterson, legendary name. Let's go ahead and take a look at that special teams unit. They have Riley Patterson, who has 85% field goal percentage this season, and Logan Cook, who's been a top 11 punter, as well as Ross Matisik, who snaps the ball. He's had 152 snaps this year, and this kick is going to be good, going to tie up the game. I'm going to edit that scoreboard. So Riley Patterson able to get on the board for the Jaguars, and that will tie things up here in New York. So 3-3 ball game. So we have ourselves a close ball game. Let's kind of highlight the last players we haven't so far this evening, which is the kind of linebackers and secondary for the Jags. So looking at the linebackers for the Jaguars, Foye Oluokun has been the leading tackler for the Jags this season, as well as they have Devin Lloyd, who they picked in the 1st round out of Utah. Was kind of benched at one point, and he's kind of came back, but he has almost 100 tackles. And then Chad Muma, who they picked out of Wyoming as a 3rd round pick this season. They picked both of those. They went double linebacker in early in the draft. And then for the secondary, they have Tyson Campbell, who has been a top 10 corner this season. As a 2nd round pick last year out of Georgia. Kind of, he was that first pick in the 2nd round after they picked Trevor Lawrence in the 1st, and Etienne as well. They ended up, kind of moving around a little bit there. Then they have Darius Williams, who they signed from L.A., the Rams, this year. He's a smaller guy, about 5'9", so he normally lines up both inside and outside. Trey Herndon has been on the team for a while. Finally getting an opportunity. He's had 283 snaps this season. Once again, the Shaquille Griffin injury kind of forced some people to step up. And then Andre Cisco, who we saw earlier this evening on the safety blitz, get in there for a sack to hold him to a field goal. He has 3 picks. He's really stepped up after being drafted out of Syracuse on day 2. And then we have Rayshawn Jenkins, who they signed from the Chargers last year. And he had the game-winning interception last week off of Dak. Obviously, it was very debated whether, it was a poor throw or drop by Noah Brown. But whatever it was, Rayshawn Jenkins ended up getting in there. And for the Jag special teams we kind of talked about, but the returner is Jamal Agnew, has been pretty successful in his career. For the Jet special teams that we have not highlighted yet, Greg Zuerlein is their kicker. Braden Mance, their punter, who's been a top 6 punter. Thomas Hennessy is their long snapper, a veteran there. And then Braxton Berrios has been their returner for kicks and punts, averaging 22.3 yards on his kick returns. So, game is going to return. They're going to highlight the Statue of Liberty there. We've got fans in ponchos, as it may be raining where they are. And this kick is going to go into the end zone, and Berrios is going to opt to not return it. It looks like we have some winds going on. It's kind of going around there. Can't tell. I think it's mostly rain. I don't think it's really snow there, even though Buffalo gets a lot of snow. So Zach Wilson and that offense is going to step back up onto the field. We have here, it looks like Zonovan Knight immediately in the backfield is going to be on the first play. Looks like they're going to go 3 receiver. No, they might go. They've got Uzoma out there on the left of them. Oluokun there. And we've got 3 receivers, 2 to the right. Got a motion from Elijah Moore. Now it's going to be a play action here off the fake, and he just throws it into the dirt. Potentially it looks like we're maybe trying to develop a screenplay to CJ Uzoma, but wasn't able to happen. There was pressure in his face, and he just throws it into the dirt. And, that's, I think what it comes down to Zach Wilson, like I look at when we broke it down a few years ago during the draft, what kind of has gone wrong for him is those potential weaknesses that we kind of saw as flaws have really just exponentially shown themselves. Because at the time it was like, okay, he's going to work out of throwing the ball too hard. He's going to, may not play the hero ball as much, but then he has been. So he can make these really good off-platform throws, but he's just got to hit the layups a little bit. They hand it off to Zonovan Knight, and it's not real great there. So it's going to be 3rd down for the Jets. 3rd down and 7. And they're going to highlight Mike White again here. So it's very interesting to see how this team rallies. And they also, notable, they activated Chris Streveler to the roster. Now, Zach here going to motion Elijah Moore again to the right. So now he still has 2 to the right of him. He's looking right the whole way. He fires it to Tyler Conklin, who's got the first down and still running past the 50 out to the 45, being tackled down by Rayshawn Jenkins. But that was, and Foye Oluokun there at the end too. But what a play here. They went 3 to the right here. We've got the Elijah Moore going to go deep. And we have kind of an underneath concept, just an out. And actually Elijah Moore is able to lay a block on a linebacker. You love to see that from Elijah Moore, as that leaves Tyler Conklin wide open. Wow, Elijah Moore took up 2 defenders there. He was able to get Trey Herndon and I believe Chad Muma there caught lacking. He was able to get 2 for 1, and then they move Elijah Moore again. His motion has been very key. They hand it off to Michael Carter for a gain of 4. Elijah Moore is a key piece in this offense, and it's interesting he kind of wanted out on the team. But I really liked Elijah Moore coming out of the draft last year. He was I had him as, I believe, a top 15 player in the class, and he hasn't maybe performed up to that, but we saw it right there. He can, if he can take up 2 defenders on one play, that is brilliant. Brilliant job there. Wow. That has been impressive. Impressive overall. So now we have here Chris Streveler going in the game. For what, I do not know, but they go designed run to the right and immediately gets flagged. This is very intriguing. They brought in Chris Streveler, a former CFL quarterback, who's bounced around a little bit, and they unfortunately get a false start there. They brought him in to perhaps do a designed play to the right, and it's all for naught because of a false start penalty. They activated him today off the practice squad. Very intriguing that they go with that play call. But now that's going to leave Zach Wilson here. And so he's back in the game. 2nd and 12 now after that penalty. He's got 3 receivers to his left. And so he looks right, though, to Garrett Wilson. And wow, that was off. That was interesting there. It looked like kind of running a curl route from Wilson, a little comeback. And that play was almost intercepted by the corner there, Darius Williams. And so I don't know what the miscue was here. I think maybe just a poor throw overall. Maybe just a kind of miscommunication on the depth of the route, perhaps. That just was in front, almost picked by Williams. I don't know what was going on there. And this is what, when people kind of talk about Zach Wilson, this is what people highlight a lot, right? Is he can make those highlight plays, but that you got to consider kind of a layup. But they, on 3rd down and 12, he was rolling out. He ran about 20 yards backwards before he fires it out of bounds to nobody. Wow. This is unfortunate for Zach. He's kind of showing what some people have been concerned about. And there is a flag on the play, and it looks like it is on New York, and so we're going to get another punt. It was pass interference on Elijah Moore. Now that was interesting. Darius Williams just fell down. There was a little bit of a push-off, but that was quite a that was interesting. Darius Williams just kind of fell down, so sold the penalty a little bit. Braden Mann steps out, top 10 punter Braden Mann. Going to punt it. Some pressure in his face. Gets hit from a player. And that is going to be called down. But I think they got a roughing the punter there. Now the question is what type of penalty this is. Because they called it on Caleb Johnson. That's who kind of hit him there. Former Chicago Bear. And so is it going to be, depending on what leg he hit here, it's either going to be a 5-yard, and it was the kicking leg. So I think it's probably going to be a 5-yarder here, maybe making it a 4th and 7. And so, yeah, I would agree with that. They just declined it because it was a decent punt, and it wasn't going to give you a 1st down. So that's an understandable call there off of the penalty. That's going to put Jaguars back on the field this evening. So as they cut the commercial, wow, that's unfortunate. You know, like we've really Zach Wilson not putting up a good first 2 drives thus far. That throw to Garrett Wilson is still very confusing to me. I'm still a little bit confused on what happened there. The route idea was there. He was open. I just don't know whether Zach just threw literally one of the, well, I should say not one of the worst passes. We've seen some pretty bad passes this year, but a terrible pass. Whether it was more of a miscue between him and Wilson on the depth of the route. Because something was off there. So it almost was a pick. And then, you know, we have Zach Wilson trying to make a play on that 3rd down. Ran backwards for about 10 yards. So we'll see what Trevor and the Jags offense can do now. But this is, I hope everyone is having a good holiday week. We have a lot of football. The football schedule, though, is definitely different than usual. I was thankful this week, able to, since I'm off of school, maybe get some work done with this here, able to do this and, you know, at least get some graphics made. So this is going to be an interesting game overall because we've already seen they've moved the ball a little bit, but the Jets have not really significantly moved it. The Jags were able to drive down for a field goal. The Jets only got the points because of the fumble from Trevor Lawrence. So I don't know what is going to happen here, and they've got an animation of players in This is intriguing there. Wow. They're highlighting the players in a jet plane right now. And that was an interesting animation. But the Jets defense is going to walk out on the field. They had a good first drive with the pressure from Quinnen Williams. But after that, last drive, Jags were able to move the ball pretty well. So, let's see what happens here. They line up at their own 3-yard line. We got some motion from Evan Ingram going right and left, and they're going to hand it off to ETN, who's able to get through that first level, get to about the 12-yard line. It's going to be a big gain. He's going to be about 2 yards short from the sticks. That's a good first play to drive. He's coming out of the gain. Looks like he unfortunately maybe pulled something. So he's out. I believe JaMycal Hasty is going to come in now. Perhaps a shoulder injury. I don't know what's going in there, but that's going to leave JaMycal Hasty, and then they have Snoop Connor behind him if needed. But here we go, a handoff to JaMycal Hasty is where they go with this ball. That's a first down. ETN being seen by the trainers. That could be huge. Now, Hasty, to me, is a capable back. He's shown that he can play in a pinch in San Francisco. He, kind of gets buried behind all the players that were in that system. But I think that he has shown the capability. He has quite a bit of speed. Came out of Baylor a few years ago. ETN is still out for the moment. Probably will be now for a while. As Hasty to the left, Lawrence, they go with the screenplay, and it is almost caught by a lineman. That was ugly. They go with the screenplay to Hasty. He gets absolutely bottled up immediately. I believe Quinnen Williams was in there. Literally covered him straight up. Let's see this from Quinnen Williams. He gets a double team, gets through it, literally is able to hold Hasty because he reads that play immediately, gets a pass deflection. How about that? A D lineman call that a pass deflection. Then we have, I believe it was Luke Fortner and Sheriff trying to catch the ball, and there's a reason they're linemen, they weren't able to catch the ball there. That was messy. Then that was almost intercepted. I don't know if that lineman could have caught the ball legally. I don't think they were, I guess maybe have a screen. Maybe one of them was eligible downfield, but now we have an interesting play where Hasty kind of gets held on the route, but he catches the check down, and he gets out there for the first down. JaMycal Hasty showing a bit of burst here. Wow. Definitely an interesting player. He's never really gotten an opportunity to be a standout back on a team, really. Did for a few weeks at a time in San Francisco, but that was a great play from Hasty, not giving up, because he actually kind of got hit immediately on the route. But I still can't believe that screenplay. That was quite a play from Quinnen Williams. Now we go in shotgun. ETN is back in the game. He was under center. They had, he gets twisted up there, but he's still out there. A brief absence for ETN. He's back in the game. It looks like Jordan Whitehead was able to make the play. They went 2 tight ends to the right in under center to go with the pitch. And a decent block there from Jawan Taylor, but that sealed the outside, but the inside, gang tackle from Nathan Shepard and Jordan Whitehead, a team effort there to go make that play. And so here is the Jets here with ETN to his left. He fires it immediately to Ingram, who gets through, being tugged by his jersey by Quincy Williams, trudges for a first down. He is getting the ball now. I believe that's his 3rd catch. And he's putting up a decent stat line. Wow, he is, 3 for, let's see how many it says. 3 for 41 yards. How about that? Impressive. He's been on fire the last few weeks. That's 7.1 fantasy points for all of you at home that are still in the playoffs. Maybe you played Evan Ingram. I don't know. Maybe you did. I did in one league, and so I'm feeling good about that. But Jamal Agnew now out there at receiver with, I believe, Marvin Jones, and they go motion, and just a handoff to ETN there for nothing, caught in the backfield by Jordan Whitehead. He's been making some plays tonight. solid performance. The other safety, Lamarcus Joyner's been absent, but Whitehead has been present as we have motion there. ETN just gets caught up in the backfield. That's a TFL for Whitehead. Big play. He's been a good signing for them since coming over from Tampa Bay. He really blossomed that Super Bowl year, and then he left for New York. We have a motion, Jamal Agnew. I'm thinking one of the receivers is hurt, and Agnew's getting in there, but Lawrence looking to fire it over to Dan Arnold, I believe that is there. Wow, what a play. Wow, that was Dan Arnold, who they traded for last season from the Panthers. Kind of runs an out route. They layer it a little bit, and then, ends up Sauce Gardner and Jordan Whitehead kind of luckily touch him for the tackle, but a nice little out route. They have kind of a stable of tight ends there. They're carrying 4 on the roster because they have Ingram, then they have Manhurts as the blocker, Arnold's another receiver, and they also have Luke Farrell, who they picked out of Ohio State. We've got Lawrence rolling out, able to juke a defender. Michael Carter had to turn around there and barely reaches him. A scramble from Lawrence results in a first down. He's got some turf on his eyes now. He had to take off his helmet and get that checked out because he was rolling. Wow, you don't. I feel like when you're commentating now, I'm really how many commercial breaks there are. They're driving. The Jaguars with a few solid plays here. They're getting some momentum. Evan Ingram's been a great device for them. They've had Agnew out there the last 2 plays for whatever reason. They had Hasty come in and actually perform pretty well for a little bit there. So really, really interesting to see that. Wow. The Jags, this is why they're showing the reasons I did pick them is what they're showing right now, which is just I think they have the ability to put up more points on the scoreboard. But overall, this is very, very interesting performance because the Jets have not been able to move the ball, but definitely moving it from the Jaguars' perspective. And so they're driving here. We know they're at least in the field goal range. I believe they're in the red zone at this point. So they're going to be looking to put some points on the board. So Jaguars come in here at 6-8, looking for the division. If they can get this win, they're back at 7-8, and the Titans are 7-7. So a Titans loss would result in them tie. I don't know who has the tiebreaker right now, but basically, I believe that they might play last week of the season. So they definitely, this game matters because as long as they can keep up to pace with the Titans, they'll be in contention to potentially get the division. So they're doing an ad now for something here, but so Jags moving the ball. We'll see where they go with this. I'd imagine they might run the ball first play here and then maybe go to the pass. Trevor has a nice ability. Trevor has really shown some skills. Trevor has really performed well this evening. So this is it's a longer commercial break right now. Got some Rick and Morty on the screen, but with some green cleats, I guess how they connected. But here we go. I believe they're coming back. We have an interview with Robert Saleh. But I'm interested to see what they do here because I think this is a huge opportunity for them to, put some points on the board, maybe get up to double digits. Let's see. Quick interview with Robert Saleh. Quinnen Williams has been a difference maker. We are 1 quarter already through the game. And Trevor Lawrence now from the 25-yard line. ETN to his right. Now Ingram goes to the left. They're going to hand it off to ETN. like we maybe thought they'd do a run right away, and he gets about one tackled by Jermaine Johnson, the second, the rookie out of Florida State. I see Jermaine Johnson as this year being a really nice kind of third rotation edge piece. Looks like Lawrence kind of went down hard there. Ooh, he wrapped that up a little bit. He took some pebbles from the turf to his face, and he looked kind of moved it, but then they had to wipe the turf out of his eyes and his face there. But now he can see, and so they go empty set, and he rolls out to his left as there was pressure. He fakes the throw and actually almost gets the first. He maybe did. He made two defenders perhaps look silly there. What was that? My goodness. Did he get that? That is quite an athletic play if he did. Did he truly get that? So they've got the rookie Harvey Clements. And, Michael Carter got faked. And wow, what a play from Trevor Lawrence. He escapes the pressure from the rookie out of Texas A&M and escaped Michael Carter, the defensive back, with a little pump fake, getting it first. Now they're at the 15, hands it off to Etienne, slips past the defender, gets about 4 yards. Wow, this athleticism from Trevor Lawrence is an X factor. He's been able to show it this play. That time reaching for the first down, even though he was not necessarily tackled, but wow, this is an impressive performance from Trevor right now. So here they are, 2nd and 6. Peterson looking at the play sheet, and now they have Kirk going motion to the left. So now he's got 2 to his left. Back over to the right. They're going to pitch it to Travis Etienne, who cuts through, gets through a tackle, lands at about the 1 yard line, maybe the 2 if he was down there. They go with a nice little flip, and looks as though Will Parks is injured, who stepping in for already an injury, LaMarcus Joyner this evening. That means Ashton Davis may have to get out there. Otherwise, they do have this other safety, I'm like from the practice squad, that has kind of been on and off, a special teamer. I want to make sure I get that guy, but I think it's going to be Ashton Davis. But looking at who else they have, it could be Tony Adams. It is. They're going to go with Tony Adams here, who in a pinch has actually been all right this season. He's gotten some opportunities defensively. But here we go. Lawrence under center with Etienne behind him. And it looks like a timeout from the Jaguars, looking to make sure they know what they're doing here. A very effective drive from the Jags thus far. This has been an interesting game. You know, you look at what the Jags are doing offensively, and I think they could be a dangerous team come playoffs, especially if they get a home game with a division. That would be very interesting. Wow. So now we wait for what the play is. I think that you gotta see what the if they can get on the board here, that would be huge for them to go up. I think if they could get a touchdown here, that would be very impactful for them. It's a 3-3 ball game right now. Jets have not shown that they can move the football yet. And here we are with Etienne to the left of Lawrence. They're going to go 2 tight ends set, 2 receivers to the right. Ingram motions right then left. And the handoff goes to Etienne right up the middle, fighting for it, but he gets to about the 1.5 yard line. Stopped short of the end zone. They're going to have to do it again here. Etienne with 56 yards on the ground thus far. I believe that almost puts him, if not, maybe it does, over 1,000. It's getting close at least for sure. This could be interesting. 2nd and goal. They're going under center. Etienne behind him in the backfield. They go handoff again. He cuts right, gets through, but he is short. He is short. What a play from Jamian Sherwood. So him and Hamza Nasruddin are two guys that they like signed as undrafted or late round picks. I believe sixth and seventh round picks. Who is down there? We have a lineman. That is Luke Fortner. Do they have another center on the roster? I don't think they. Oh no. It's Brandon Scherf. It's Brandon Scherf. That was there. I was worried it was their center there for a second, and then they wouldn't have had anybody. But it's Brandon Scherf. With them losing Ben Bartch, that puts them down a guard, so they're gonna have to go to either Blake Hance or Cole Van Lannon here. That's not good for the Jags because Scherf is debatably their best lineman, already down their left tackle. Wow. That really is. That's really interesting. That's unfortunate. You don't like to see injuries occur, especially to star players. But the Jags now will be at about the half-yard line. But Jamien Sherwood with the play, him and Nasruddin were kind of lighter linebackers, potentially safety type of players, kind of like back in the day with like a Deion Buchanan type of role, and they both have kind of stuck around on the team, and that's a big play from Sherwood to stop him at the goal line, number 44 there, coming in clutch with a stop. So now it's going to be, I believe, third down. Haven't passed the ball yet. Could look to do it, but I have a feeling they're just going to run it. They're at least getting forward each time they're doing it with ETN. I think that's the direction they may go. But this really could. They have options here at the goal line, but I don't know what direction they are going to go in. So now we have ourselves a ad for Amazon on Amazon to watch the game. That makes sense, I guess. Well, this is, now we got Saquon doing inspiring things. We love to see it. But the Jags are going to look to get it in the end zone here. And I think they might just run the ball again, even though they haven't passed the ball in the red zone, I believe. I have a feeling they might just run it. I actually think I could see a QB option here with Lawrence. He's had a very good success. Sheriff is still on the way up. That is not good for them, especially if they're going to make a playoff push. If you lose Brandon Sheriff, that's a huge loss. Looks like he kind of got caught up with Williams, and they're going to go with Blake Hance, who now they have Ingram motion and motion left and right. They go with a QB sneak. He dives it. He fumbles it, but they're going to call that a touchdown. He dove over the pile, got knocked out, and C.J. Mosley thought he had it, but that's going to be a touchdown for the Jacksonville Jaguars. I love that play call. I was thinking they were going to do something with the QB. The sneak is the way to go. That wasn't even that wasn't even directly against the goal line. His length there, Trevor's like 6'6", you know. He just gets up there, dives in for the pylon, crosses the plane easily. That was a Doug Peterson. What a play call. And Patterson again step out here for the kick. Mr. Riley again. It looks as though this could be double digits now for the Jags. Let's see what happens. If he makes this extra point, it's a low ball, but he does make it. So that's going to make it 10-3. Jacksonville Jaguars are up now on the New York Jets. Wow. What a drive. What a drive. Trevor Lawrence did a lot that drive. That was huge. Specifically him on the ground actually carried that drive. He had a solid run where he fakes it, reaches for the first. He also had the one he kind of dove for, got some turf in his face, and he closes it with a dive. Wow. Well, let's see how Zach Wilson recovers from that, let's see how he responds. Because they have not been able to move the ball. Trevor with a methodical drive there. 96-yard drive all the way down the field. That was, wow. And apparently it's their first 95-yard touchdown drive since 2018. Well, that is just amazing. That was a phenomenal drive from Trevor. Now, I was thinking Zach might step up a little bit tonight, but let's see if he can do it now. They're going to have Berrios back deep there to return the kick. It's at the 1, so he has to take it out. He's going to get past the 25. He's got space 30, about the 33. Dives over his own bench, almost tears his ACL. For sure, actually, it seriously looks like he injured his stomach region. Oh, that's so unfortunate for Sheriff. Like, Nathan Shepard, lands on his knee. Oh, no. Wow. And then he just jumps backwards. That's unfortunate. And then Sheriff is actually hurt. Actually, maybe hurt his groin after the return diving. I don't know who they have listed as their backup kick returner. I know that they have some options. It might be, well, they go play action off of Zonovan Knight, throw over to Garrett Wilson from Zach Wilson, Wilson to Wilson, and they do a nice little fake for the first. I know they have options at returner, but they could probably go Zonovan Knight there, but let me see who they actually list as their backup returner, because he does kick and punt for them. So they have Elijah Moore as the backup punt, and then Ty Johnson as the backup kick returner. Keep an eye on that, because Berrios takes both the punts and kicks for them, and now Wilson, a little shaken up on the sideline. They are just losing receivers left and right. And we have a pitch here tonight. That was interesting. There's a flag right away. He bounces off a little bit, but I think this could potentially be coming back. It's unfortunate for the Jets. The last few plays have really been a struggle. You lose Berrios, your returner. We'll see if he can come back because he had too much momentum and dove into the bench. They've got Garrett Wilson now. First round pick, absolutely stud receiver this season. He's kind of warming up, I don't know, his kind of calf area. Maybe his hamstring. Seems all right, but it's going to leave Zach Wilson needing to throw to Elijah Moore, Corey Davis, and maybe Tyler Conklin. That's who they have out here as well, but they are going to go with a play-action pass, and Wilson, looking around, ends up going short to Zonovan Knight on the check down, who's going to run for a first down on a 1st and 15 play. That was a nice, safe choice. I like that because it looked like Zach was maybe going to force something deep there. No, they only have Corey Davis. They really only had Corey Davis and Elijah Moore running routes because they just don't have the numbers. And then they have Zonovan Knight kind of just sneak in there, Uzoma as an extra blocker. They're running out of options in the playbook. So, going maybe a little this is kind of a tight set. They might need to go 2 tight ends. Here they stick with the same look, 2 receivers, 1 tight end. This time a pitch tonight, and that's nowhere to go. Bottled up by Devin Lloyd, but Knight keeps trying to go, but it doesn't go anywhere. It's a bigger loss. Caleb Chase on there. So I believe Devin Lloyd got in there. I thought he made a play, but then Knight was able to slip back out there, but then a kind of group tackle from Rayshawn Jenkins, and I believe Caleb Chason was in there, a name we haven't really mentioned because he, has kind of floated down after being a first-round pick out of LSU. But Rayshawn Jenkins has 2 picks, as we mentioned earlier, the one last week. Well, now it's 2nd and 17. That was kind of poor there. I actually was hurt, and then that was an easy false start. Come on. And George Fant, it was that, I think it was a false start. Yeah. What was George Fant thinking? That, he thought it was on the other team. No, buddy, that's... Sorry, pal. And that kind of emphasizes once again, let's look at their line. Seriously, the Jets are struggling. They don't have a top 64 tackle. So according to PFF, they do not have a startable tackle. I mean, if you consider top 64 is who really should be starting, they don't have a starting tackle on their roster right now. And that's hard. Because Zach Wilson's got to make some plays. They pass it now. Pressure avoids the rush from Robertson Harris. Absolutely slings the football into double coverage almost. That was just a what are you doing? But I guess he got nothing else to do. But intended for Corey Davis. Tyson Campbell was down there. Darius Williams, I believe, was down there. Well, so he escapes the rush. And then here's the problem, though. He really doesn't have that many options with Wilson hurt right now. That was underthrown. It was Cisco and Darius Williams in there, and then Campbell kind of got in there at the end. Their playbook and options are really limited right now because he really only has 2 receivers to throw to. They're losing all their depth guys like Jeff Smith and Braxton Berrios. I think they might only have 4 on today's roster. They go a dump off to Michael Carter on 3rd and 21. Not going to do it. Brandon Scherff comes back out of the tent. I doubt he gets back in the game, but there's a chance now he does. That would be huge for Jacksonville. So the Jets go with he just dumps it off to Carter, gets a little better field position. But their playbook is really limited right now. I think they only have 2 actual receivers right now. I don't think they activated anybody from the practice squad because they activated Parks and Strevler for whatever reason. And Berrios is not down there. I can't even tell who they have. I think who is that? This is... Oh, and he almost bobbles it. Let's see. Oh, never mind. That's Agnew. I was thinking the Jets had somebody down there. That was the Jets have the Jags have Agnew always, but the Jets, I was trying to see if they maybe had somebody else at receiver on special teams, but because I don't think they activated another receiver on their game day roster, which was perhaps a mistake. They only, because this week, this is a storyline. I mean, let's take a look at their room here. Because if there is some injuries, they are seriously going to have a problem offensively the rest of the night. We already talked about their offensive line. But here's the deal. They carry 6 on their roster, right? Jeff Smith, who made a huge play last week, out. Denzel Mims, just a depth guy, out. Braxton Berrios, who's their returner and also a backup slot, injured. He just ran into the bench. So he ran into the bench, so he might be out. Then Garrett Wilson, their number 1 guy, is currently injured. So who does that leave? That leaves Elijah Moore and Corey Davis. So on paper, I would criticize the decision that that Wilson made just to chuck it to Davis, but he literally has no other options because he's only got 2 receivers running route. They might need to go tight end heavy, and then it's not like they can run the ball well because they don't have a great O-line and they don't have a dominant back either. Just an unfortunate turn of events here for the Jets. All because of a bench. Otherwise they just have Braxton Berrios, who actually good friends with Zach Wilson, can be a shifty guy in the slot. But with him hurt, it just limits their play call abilities offensively. That's really unfortunate. So now we look at Jacksonville offensively. We'll see if Scherff gets back in there. Let's see. They're looking at all the free agents they signed, and yes, they signed a ton. They signed a lot of players. But it is raining hard. I mean, it's going to be interesting to move the ball. I think we're going to be going through some run plays. Lawrence putting his hand behind him in, the jacket and the hand warmer as we have Scherff back out there. I guess it's just a cramp maybe or something when Nathan Shepard landed on him. He's back out there. That's huge. Injuries are going right now for the Jaguars. They're getting their guys back versus the Jets offensively. They need their guys almost. It looked like ETN either slipped or almost lost the ball there. But that's Nathan Shepard on a TFL, who's actually been a pretty good performer for them this season. Let's see what happened. A little bit, kind of a fumbled exchange there. Went low. He had to dive just to even keep the football. Just kind of a late exchange, I guess. Like, Trevor didn't get his hand out, but then again, ETN, I don't know, that looked pretty normal. Just kind of slipped. The elements are going to start taking place. Where I'm at, there's a blizzard outside right now. It is literally whirling snow, and in New York, it is currently downpouring. As Lawrence now rolling to the right, just all the space in the world. Somebody put a QB spy on that man. He is literally going to run for probably, looks like 60, 70 yards at this point. I mean, let's take a look at this here. They have Manhurts in the game, and Ingram. They go 2 tight ends set. They go play action, and just nobody keeps an eye on him there. I think we look at the contrast, though. If I'm the Jets, I'm putting 2 tight ends out there and 2 receivers. I don't know what type of looks they're doing right now, but like, I'd get Conklin Uzoma, because like we're seeing what 2 tight ends are actually working really well for the Jags right now. You know, and so they hand it off to ETN. He gets about 3. Yep. Amazon maybe needs to adjust. They had the first down marker as like a white, clear, kind of gray, ghosty animated thing. But I think for the first down marker, the line of scrimmage marker, but I think that they should maybe change it because it kind of is hard to tell with the lines on the field and the line of scrimmage. But 2nd and 6 now for the Jacksonville Jaguars. And we have a motion from Zay Jones. And the snap immediately goes to Ingram. I think Ingram on the motion, who is able to get through a tackle and runs down. Ingram, have yourself a night. He's got green all over the back of his jersey, but he is also all over the field. Ingram, they're moving him left and right. He's looking like the guy that he was out of Ole Miss. They just designed a little bubble screen for him. And he cuts through the block and able to get through a DJ Reed attempted tackle because Zay Jones and Christian Kirk were out there to block for him. CJ Mosley barely trips him up from behind. Wow. Ingram, you know, a guy, he's 77 yards already. He's got over 11 fantasy points if you have him in your lineups. Wow. Well, this is interesting. Now a handoff to ETN for about 1. What's really interesting is right now we are a quarter and a half in, more than, and your leading receiver for the Jags is by far Evan Ingram. He's kind of been the focal point of this offense. And Trevor Lawrence has almost been more effective on the ground than ETN, I would perhaps say. May ETN still has more yards, but I think that efficiency-wise, Lawrence has actually been pretty impressive. Wow, so Ingram's really involved. They're going to motion Kirk here to the right. It's going to be a play-action pass. Lawrence just dumps it down to ETN. Loss of 3. I don't know about that one. That was interesting. Because I don't even think that was a designed play. I don't think that was a screen. I think that was just ETN just runs a route off. No, that was they planned that. That was a delayed screen. Did not work. Solomon Thomas there on the tackle, former top 3 pick. Yeah, that's true. He hasn't performed like it in his career, but Solomon Thomas. Now they go to the left to Christian Kirk, who's gonna weave in and out and be about 2 yards short, 3 yards short of the first down. Now, 4th down, I would think they get the punting unit out there. Yeah, they do. Oh, no, never mind. Are they in field goal range? Did they really get in field goal range? It didn't feel like it. Maybe Ingram got enough on that one play. Holy cow. This is a huge opportunity now. 45 in the rain. No guarantee for Patterson, but he has hit 85% of his field goals this season, and it's looking like it'll curl in. Does it have the length? It does. Wow, another field goal for the Jags is going to put them up 13-3. They are moving the ball very well offensively. My goodness. And there we go, 13-3 now. Well, the Jags are starting to push ahead here. It's just they are moving the ball very effectively offensively. This is a great performance from Trevor Lawrence. Evan Ingram's getting the ball all over the place. They're really spreading the ball. We need to see what the Jets can do offensively to respond to this, because they have not been able to move the ball. They are also losing their receivers because Berrios ran into the bench and then Garrett Wilson pulled something. So right now they're rocking with 2 receivers. I'd say a lot of teams run 3 on a play pretty often, perhaps even a majority of the time, and they currently don't even have the option to do that because of injuries that have occurred this week. So if you count the 2 from earlier in the week, they've lost about 4 receivers in a matter of a few days. And I still look back, I think it was an interesting call for them. The Will Parks call-up, smart if they're not going to have Joyner. But this Chris Streveler call-up, I like Chris Streveler. They tried to give him the ball on one play, it looked like, as a designed run that ended up coming back because of a false start. But he's just sitting on the bench. They have Flacco activated too. They could have activated somebody from the practice squad. I mean, what it was, Irvin Charles, it looks like they have, or Deontay Spencer, who's bounced around. He's had some experience. He probably could have made that. I don't know. Interesting call there to activate Streveler, because now when they need a receiver, they don't have the option. They only have 2. But hopefully, I would think by this point that Wilson or Berrios will be healthy at this point. If they can get one of them back, that would be huge. Because otherwise, their play call options offensively are just kind of lacking. So, Ryan Fitzpatrick apparently is just into Audible books now. Interesting. Yeah, rest in peace, Franco Harris. He passed away this week. The Immaculate Reception, one of the greatest plays of all time. Definitely prayers out to him, his family, and everyone that he knew. Thank you, Amazon, for highlighting that, because that is unfortunately something that happened this week. So the Jets now with the ball, can they get something going offensively? Let's see if Berrios is back out there. He had a good return last time, but then he ran into the benches. And Patterson will kick this off. Daniel Thomas to the right of him. And away we go again. And is that Berrios? I think Berrios is back. Berrios is back. Yep. So now that just gives them more options, because then they can put Berrios in the slot if Wilson is not ready yet, or they can, just because I think that they would best use him in the slot, versus they also have Elijah Moore and Corey Davis still, but we'll see where they go. They've really been struggling on the offensive side of the ball. And here we go. We got 2 receivers to the right. Motion from Uzoma. And Knight in the backfield. They fake the handoff. Pressure immediately. There were 3 Jags in his face. And Roy Robertson Harris, it looks like, came up with the sack. But Corey Peters was in there. It looked like maybe Chad Muma was in there. They had everybody. They brought some pressure, and it made it home. That whole right side was just destroyed. Wow, they brought everybody. They brought the house. They brought Muma. They brought Darwayne Smoot. And Harris gets in there. They sent about 4. That was quite a stunt. Whole right side just got destroyed. And wow, they get through again. Oh my goodness. The Jets have to block somebody. Jeez Louise. Roy Robertson Harris gets through again. There's nothing Zach Wilson can do. I mean, we've highlighted it. This Jets offensive line is a problem. Oh, man. What was... that was another design screen, but you got to hold it a little bit better than that. They had 4 linemen leave the play, and I know it's a screenplay, but... Man, you just can't... Zach can't do anything about that. Now it's 3rd and 18. He's got 4 options to his right, and he just dumps it underneath to Michael Carter. Again, that's frustrating to watch. If you're Zach Wilson, like, I don't know what you're supposed to do with that. Because that is just mind-boggling to me. They call plays where they have the lineman just leave and they already can't block. And so he's getting pressured. And then at the end there, that's twice where they've basically had to give up on a drive and they just dump it down to the running back because it's like a long 3rd down. Let's take a look at this line again. Like, I just got to highlight that. Like, this is very unfortunate. Like, this line is not getting it done. Once again, they do not have a startable tackle, according to PFF. They don't have a guy who's in the top 64. Like, my goodness. This is just... And the Jags don't even have Travon Walker either. It's like... They're not even... I mean, Josh Allen's probably their best pass rush threat, and he hasn't even been in action. It's been Roy Robertson Harris up the middle getting in there. I mean, let's take a look at that. The Jags defensive players. I mean... Roy Robertson Harris, Smoot's been getting in there a bit, but Roy Robertson Harris has been having a night. I mean, credit to him. Credit to him. He's proven that contract. My goodness. This is... I mean, you just see the contrast of 2 offenses. And you just see one moving the ball, going down, and then you see the other not having options. And, like, Zach Wilson has not been playing super well. Certainly not perfect. But, like, I'm seeing, like, tonight he does not have many options. They're running out of receivers. They've sent, like, 2 receivers out there every play. It's just... that is interesting to see. That's my reaction to what's going on right now, because that is very intriguing. Yeah, I mean, definitely look at the highlights. I'm with you there. Trevor Lawrence using his legs has been key, and Quinton Williams has been there and he's been doing really, really well, but it's hard to stop that. But I'd be focusing on the Jets. Got to get themselves an O-line bad. They are, those injuries this season have really taken a toll on them. So a punt from Braden Mann. It's a decent punt. It's going. It's caught by Agnew at about the 29. He gets about 3 on the return. So out trots Lawrence again. Wow. This here has been an absolute... I don't even know what to call this. It feels like the Jags are winning by more than 10. The only reason the Jets got those 3 points is because of the fumble on that first drive. But they can't move. They can't move the ball. So here comes the Jags. A little 2-minute drill potentially here. See, they've got, a tight end and 2 other receivers to the right. Or actually 3 receivers. I thought that was Ingram, but it was Jones, and they handed off to ETN for a short gain. So, wow, this is This is absolutely intriguing to see. Okay, so Lawrence now with ETN to his left fires it immediately to Ingram. Have yourself a night, buddy. It's going to be about a yard and a half short of the sticks. Evan Ingram has been the focal point of this offense. Now that's something that I think somebody would have said drafting him 5 years ago, but not right now. But yeah, that is true. Evan Ingram right now is running a heck of a game. They're using him in motion. Here comes Agnew now off the motion, but they go to ETN. That was a beautiful play call. He's got all types of space, all kind of smart. He gets out of bounds. He definitely, I thought maybe could cut left and just gotten loose, but it's a good effort from ETN there. Got quite a gain. See, I love the motion. They fake it. Some people might think Agnew's getting the ball, but no, they just go check down to ETN. Love to see it. Love to see it. Wow. So Quentin Williams back out. And now we have ETN to the right. Going here in the shotgun. He's going to look left, and he's looking around. Pressure in his face, and that's going to be underthrown. Pressure for Lawrence. He wasn't able to find anybody there. Looks like it came from Franklin Meyer. No, Solomon Thomas. Got through there. So I'm glad he didn't force anything on that play. He just kind of settled with it. It was a behind throw, but that ended up being all right for them. So now we have 2nd and 10. And it's snapped. He immediately fires it. Oh, fired it right to Hasty. And it was incomplete. Off target. It was behind him there. Quick little out off a check down. Wasn't a bad idea as a play call. But just a little late on it, I'd say, because he was open. Just kind of poor positioning there. And now, 3rd and 10. This is when you really need some pass rush. And we have a motion from ETN, and they're going to go that way immediately. And there's just open space, and ETN gets a first down out of that. Wow. Doug Peterson is calling himself a masterclass tonight in offense. He is getting guys the ball in open space. My goodness. The Jets just let all 10 of those yards just go right past them. They gave him space. This Jags team could be dangerous. This is like they haven't even really been working their receivers at all, and they still have a very valid offense between Ingram, ETN, and Lawrence. It's really all they're using right now, and it's doing them just fine. Wow. Okay, so now we will have ourselves here. Oh, but plot twist. He is inches short. 4th and inches. So here comes a 44-yarder from Riley Patterson. And, oh no. Amazon, come on, load. My thing just froze, my broadcast. Do we know if he made it? Oh, no. Oh. Cuts it. I don't think he did. No, he did not. Let me make sure I'm back to live. Wow, he did not make that. That was... I agree with the decision for sure to just kick that field goal, but not a chance in that one. Wow. That was interesting. That was very intriguing. And now Wilson goes out, empty set, 25 seconds. He's made some magic happen before. Can he do it this time? And he checks it down to Conklin. Gonna fight for some yards. He is not going down, but also draining some clock. But they have all 3 timeouts, so they're just gonna use one, I believe. Yep, so 15 seconds left. That was an interesting first play. So Zach Wilson and this offense will be back on the field here. Wow. So look at that. So rushing the ball. Zion Knight, 3 rushes, 0 yards. Garrett Wilson, 1 catch, 13 yards. He got hurt. Holy cow. This has been just a contrasting performance between 2 teams. Zach Wilson's got to get something going. He doesn't have much to work with right now. That's the problem. He's looking. There's pressure. He goes underneath to Conklin again, who does get out of bounds. Behind the line of scrimmage, though. And I hope they took a timeout. They did. There'll be about 9 seconds left. This is not a great start to what could have potentially been a decent drive. I should say at least a chance at putting some points on the board on a 2-minute drill with 25 seconds, but they've used 15 seconds for 7 yards. Not necessarily the best. So 3rd and 3. You wonder what they're going to do here. This is, okay, empty set again. So, wow, it just... And now he fires it over the middle, and it's low. It doesn't go anywhere. I'm looking from a visual standpoint. I'm literally looking at the plays, and it just feels like there's nobody out there on the field for the Jets. Like, it feels like they don't have 11 guys. It just, compared to what the Jags are running, I know it's because they have it's just the hurt receivers. Like, only having 2 receiving options is really limiting this offense. And it doesn't help when you already have other elements limiting the offense. It's 4th and 4. They are going to keep the offense out of the field. Yeah, here we go. Berrios is back out there now. I don't know why they haven't been using him on offense. So now they're going to go for a Hail Mary. And we know that Zach can certainly chuck the ball. After this play, I might quick set something, and then we're going to discuss the Pro Bowl, and also we'll take a little bit further dive into the playoff picture and who could be a dangerous threat come January and February in the NFL. So stay tuned for that. We'll have some entertainment planned for halftime. But looking at this final play, now they put a running back in protection. Oh my goodness, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Garrett Wilson gets back in the game, and false starts immediately. Do you still chuck this thing? Do you still? Yeah, I think they're still gonna chuck it, but I mean, Wilson getting in a normal condition, he can get this thing way far. But oh my gosh, okay, here we go. He chucks it. Oh my goodness, didn't even get close. It's picked off by Devin Lloyd. They're gonna lateral it back, and here comes the lateral gains off to Cisco. Didn't go anywhere. Oh my goodness, that's gonna hurt the stat sheet, but nothing he could really do. But that ball did not even get anywhere close. I think Lloyd's going to be credited with the pick, and when a linebacker gets the pick on a Hail Mary, that's when you know that maybe isn't too good. Wow. Well, the Jags, though, I'll tell you this. Smoot got pressure immediately, even though he was double-teamed and literally not even trying to get the sack. He just was... That was a tale of two offenses. Wow. This is a what up, chat? This is like a mind-blowing performance. This from both teams, like the because now the conditions are playing a part in it, right? Like it is rainy, but the Jags have been able to move the ball. And they haven't even utilized a lot of their weapons. Like, has Zay Jones gotten a catch yet? I had a league where I started Lawrence, Zay Jones, and Ingram. I know Lawrence and Ingram are doing pretty good, but, like, I don't even think Zay Jones got the ball. And they're still moving very well. The Jets, on the other hand, have just not been able to get anything going for whatever reason. I can tell you a few reasons. Their line has not been up to par. I mean, that group has been getting exposed, and specifically the tackles, but even on the interior as well. The Jags don't even have Javon Walker, but it's guys like Roy Robertson-Harris and Dwayne Smoot who have actually been playing really well this evening. So credit to them, because they are ripping through that Jets offensive line. And it didn't help the Jets only having two receivers out there for a solid, probably real-time 30 minutes, but game time almost a quarter without their best receiver. And then I still don't get the play calling, why they wouldn't get Berrios out there a little bit. Like, just as to get three receivers. Like, literally watching the game, it looked like they did not have 11 guys out there. We'll see if they can recover second half, but it's going to be hard because figuratively in the rain, I'd say run the ball, but the Jets right now cannot run the ball whatsoever. And then most of the Jags yards have been coming from Trevor Lawrence, but ETN's been doing pretty well. Golly, that was quite a first half. So now that we got a little time for sure in the broadcast here, let's go ahead and let's jump to something else. Let's talk about the Pro Bowl. Let's break down who made the Pro Bowl from each conference, and at the end I'll discuss who maybe I would have put in that didn't make the cut. So this is who made the Pro Bowl. This is going to be the halftime report here. From the NFC, for the quarterbacks, we have Jalen Hurts, Geno Smith, and Kirk Cousins. And from the AFC side, we have Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, and Joe Burrow. Now, I've been seeing what other people have been thinking as well, and I kind of agree with what I've seen. In the future, it might make sense to get rid of the conference format and get the 6 best guys in there, because AFC, those QBs are stacked. NFC, honestly, the only one that's anywhere close to the tier that Mahomes, Allen, and Burrow have been playing this year is Hurts. Like, looking at the NFC options, I think they chose the right 3. Like, I wouldn't have put anybody else in there. Those are probably the 3 best. You can make a case for maybe Jared Goff, perhaps. I don't know. But, like, I think they chose the right 3 guys. It's just, you look at what the NFC options are versus the AFC options. And, in the AFC guys that got left out, Lamar, Justin Herbert, Tua. You could probably go further of guys that, if they were in the NFC, would be easily in the Pro Bowl. But nothing crazy there. Now, running backs. NFC, we got Saquon. He's been a stud this year. Tony Pollard, been really effective. He gets in there. Miles Sanders, having a really good year. I think a surprise to a lot of people he made the Pro Bowl, but I'll say that I think he has actually been having a really good season. I'll talk about later. Maybe I would put some other guys in over him, but he's had a really good year, so it's not the worst pick. AFC-wise, those are maybe the 3 best running backs. Perhaps with Saquon's up there too, but same thing where I think there's a talent gap in the AFC, NFC. Those are the guys to go with. Chubb's been consistent all year. Jacobs is, getting the most yards, and Henry's a beast, so it's like that works. Fullback wise, you can go to whoever you want. I'd say those two are good picks. He's checking Patrick Ricard, so we'll go with those. For the wide receivers, we have Justin Jefferson for sure, A.J. Brown for sure, C.D. Lamb for sure, Terry McLaurin I think as well for sure. Like I would go with those four in the NFC. I'd say a guy, because when I talk about snubs later, there's some players that are better than the guys I put as snubs, but the problem is who do you replace them with? Like, for example, Amon-Ra St. Brown, I think had a Pro Bowl level season this year, but I don't know who you'd put him in over. Like, you'd have to take out somebody. So I'm fine with who they have there. Then from the AFC side, I disagree with one just because I think that Jamar Chase didn't play enough, but is he a top 4 receiver in the AFC? Yeah. But I personally think he missed enough games. I would have gone with somebody else I'll talk about later. But Tyreek, heck of a year. Stephon Diggs, heck of a year. Devontae, still doing really good. Chase, I would have maybe gone differently. Another example, AFC, for tight ends, I feel like it's really been Kelsey or nothing this year of all around. But Kelsey, for sure. Mark Andrews, still real good. It makes sense to put him in. Kittle, same there. Hawkinson, to me, I guess is for sure a decent option. Another one where there may be better players from a this year's standpoint. Yeah, I'm not going to crazy disagree with any of these choices, though. There's nobody else that's really like David Njoku's, for example, had a pretty good year, but I don't think he's necessarily taken a step over Mark Andrews. So I'd go with those same four. Kind of lackluster from the tight end position this year. You were maybe thinking a guy like Kyle Pitts would have stepped up, and that didn't necessarily happen. Now, it's kind of the flip side for the tackle position, where I think the NFC is actually stacked. Like, Trent Williams, the best tackle in football. Lane Johnson's a stud. Tristan Wirfs is really, really good. We'll talk about later. Like, I'd say people are talking about Andrew Thomas and Christian Darrisaw being left out a lot, and I would 100% agree with that. I think both those guys had Pro Bowl level seasons. But same thing where I don't know where you take them out. Maybe you take out Wirfs, but like the gap between Wirfs and one of those guys isn't as big as some of the other snubs I'll list later. The AFC side, honestly, not any like crazy star play. Like I would make a case the top 5 tackles in football are in the NFC. I mean, Laramie Tunsil's had a good year. Teron Armstead's had a really good year. The Orlando Brown one, I think, is a little bit more name recognition. Not necessarily, I don't think he's having a Pro Bowl level season. There's better options, but I guess that's where they went there. Looking at kind of more linemen, guard-wise in the NFC, I'm going to be honest. I think on both sides, a lot of name recognition picks. Like, Zach Martin is having a good year, so I guess you put him in. The Landon Dickerson one, honestly, shocked by it. If you're going to put an Eagles guard, I'd debate you even put Isaac Sumalo in instead of Landon Dickerson. That's the direction I would maybe go. I mean, Chris Lindstrom's had a really good year. I agree with that, but I would go differently than Landon Dickerson, personally. Joe Bitonio, great season. Joe Tooney's been good with the signing. Quentin Nelson, honestly, has not been having that type of year, but I guess we'll let him in. But not necessarily a great, like, he hasn't been having a Pro Bowl level season, not necessarily. Centers, NFC-wise, I think they nailed it. Kelsey and Ragnow, great. AFC, Humphrey for sure. Creed Humphrey's a stud. I would have maybe gone a different direction. Mitch Morse, though. I think there were better options available. I threw in the punters and place kickers in this section just because we went by threes. I'm going to agree with all the picks. There's some great players, like some rookie punters on both conferences I think were really good, but I don't know who I'd take out. I think they picked some great options on both of those there. Defensively now, let's talk about those linemen first. Aaron Donald, you got to put him in there. Jonathan Allen, I think maybe could have been replaced. Dexter Lawrence, for sure, has been having a great year. Put him in. Jonathan Allen, though, is a great player. maybe would have gone a different direction, but like totally valid. I'm not gonna super disagree with that. AFC wise, yeah, nailed it. Chris Jones, Quinnen Williams, and Jeffrey Simmons, great players. Put those guys in. Now, another thing I saw, and I will for sure agree with this, is I think they need to rework the system on how they make the defensive plays. Like, each team has 6 edge rushers. And that's like, compared to the number that they have on other positions, I think that is a little interesting. Because then you end up with 3 defensive ends. Here, I think that Bosa 100% has to be in there. Burns and Lawrence are both good players, really, really good. I think there were a little bit better options available. I don't know who you'd remove, but like I'd keep one of them. Both are fine though. Like I'm not gonna crazy disagree with that, but I do think there was some better talent left on the board there. That's where I would go with that. AFC wise, Myles Garrett, you put him in for sure. Mad Max, you got to put him in there. Hendrickson's a great player. I once again think there were maybe some better choices, but not going to super disagree with that one. I think that's a better pick than the 2 other NFC ones. 100% agree with the NFC side on the outside linebackers. Micah is an absolute stud. Z Smith's been slowing down, but you know what? He's had really good times. So I think that's a valid Pro Bowl selection. Hassan Reddick has been a stud this year. Matt Judon, I think is a great player as well. He's, kind of in the Defensive Player of the Year contention. I think the Khalil Mack pick, a little bit of a name recognition one. TJ Watt is, when he's playing, amazing. I'm going to make the debate he didn't play enough games, perhaps, but when he is playing, he is a Pro Bowler. That I do agree with. Linebacker-wise, Fred Warner, got to put him in there. Demario Davis has been an underrated guy his whole career, but honestly, I don't know if I would have put him in there over some other guys. AFC-wise, Roquan Smith really made a difference for the Ravens. I think, and CJ Mosley here has been pretty good. I think there were better options than both of those two, but both have been pretty good. Now, I'll say this. Corner-wise, each conference to me has kind of a name recognition guy in there that maybe didn't deserve to make it. But Darius Slay, great pick. Tariq Woolen's got to be in there. I would maybe cut one of either Alexander or Diggs. I think both were kind of name recognition picks. I think there were some other corners that played really well this year. But then again, looking at the NFC, there weren't as many options as the AFC. Sauce, you got to get in there. Pat Surtain has been a great pick. I loved him coming out of Bama. Just keeps covered with anybody. And Marlon Humphrey has been pretty good. I think Xavier Howard was kind of a name choice pick. For safeties, Fitzpatrick for sure in. I think Diggs was maybe I would have gone a different direction. We are almost going to kick off here. So I am going to get back to the game here in a second. But strong safety, I think you could have gone a little differently there. But overall, I agree with it. Barrios ends up returning the kick. And then special teams, decent pick. So my snubs to kind of conclude this, I'd say Jalen Waddle I would have put in over Jamar Chase just because of the games played. Colton Miller I would put in there. I'd put Linderbaum. Jalen Phillips has been good for the Dolphins. I'd put one of the linebackers from Buffalo in there over Mosley. And then I think you could put L'Jarius Sneed or somebody else, but I would maybe replace Xavier Howard at the corner. Then NFC, I would have gone Christian McCaffrey over Sanders, but it's not the worst pick. Jonah Jackson, I would have put in at guard. Edge, Brandon Graham's been having a good year. Linebacker, I'd put either Dre Greenlaw, but then you'd have 2 Niners, but I'd go Dre Greenlaw or Bobby Wagner. Pat Pete maybe doesn't necessarily deserve it, but I feel like he at least deserves some recognition. And then safety-wise, you could put somebody in there. But those are my Pro Bowl studs. We are back to the game, so I'm going to go ahead back over here now. Quick play to Corey Davis is how the Jets start their offense. So let's see if they can start on fire and get something going, because they ended very, very slow. And they're going to go with a handoff off to Zonovan Knight. So that's what's going to happen there. They are, I feel like, going to have maybe a decent start to a drive because they have kind of more plays set out. I think that they're going to have a first drive game plan, and that will help them a little bit. And it helps having the receivers back. Just because having the lack of options certainly hurt them for a little bit there. So 3rd and 1 now for the Jets. Over 13 and a half minutes left to go in the third. We're just starting in the second half. We got a motion from Garrett Wilson. He's looking to the right, but now he looks back to the left. Pressure from Davin Hamilton, but he steps up, and wow, that was not the best throw. It looked like he was going to make something magical happen, and then that's overthrown. I don't even know. I think Corey Davis was the intended target there, but definitely overthrown. There's a Packers fan in the stadium there just all of a sudden. It looked like he was maybe going to scramble for the first down and weren't able to do it. Now it's from the left hash. They have Braden Mann punting it. Not a great start for the Jets. I really think they could have used some of that firepower immediately since they started slow. Now, okay, here we go. We're going to have a punt return by Agnew, and we may have had a false start on the Jets. Holy cow, this is unbelievable. The Jets are kind of just messing up. Ali Salah's got to be real mad. And false start kicking team. What's going on, CJ Uzama? And Salah's not happy about the call. I don't know there. That was quite a sequence of events. And now we have the Jets punting. So it's going to be another snap, and wow, that thing went left. It was actually a decent punt, but wow, that thing went left, wide left immediately. Pretty good distance. Punted it out of bounds to avoid Agnew. They're highlighting, I think, some Trevor's release stuff. But now the Jags are going to be here on offense. And they have been moving the ball pretty well. But let's see what they do now. Lawrence with 40 yards and a touchdown on the ground. We got a motion from Evan Ingram. He's just been moving all over. We have a pitch to ETN. He's going to cut back to the right and make a little bit of something there. Maybe he ends up gaining 2 yards after the cutback. Tackled by Quincy Williams, the former Jaguar. That is an interesting start. I feel like ETN has just been kind of average tonight. Like, he's been doing pretty well. He's making some plays happen. No crazy explosive plays, but doing better than the Jets have on the ground. That's for sure. So Lawrence here. We're going to have Hasty in the backfield now to his left in the shotgun. And it's going to be caught by Marvin Jones, I believe, his first catch of the evening. And he's about 1 yard short of the first. That's going to set them up for 3rd and probably 1 now for the Jags. And they're highlighting here. It's 3rd and 1. It's going to be close. And so we have Ingram moving to the right again. He moves all over. So now he's got 3 receivers to his right, and they just sneak that thing straight up the middle. Wow. Tyler Shatley just went full out dive mode. I believe that's who it was. It might have been. No, it was Luke Fortner. Luke Fortner just like no, it was Brandon Scherf actually. Just straight up blocked nobody and fell forward. But he's moving though. Sheriff with the effort, he tripped, he moved forward, and he causes a distraction. Lawrence gets the first down. Now they have Ingram kind of in the backfield. They're going to hand it off to Hasty, who gets in the game with a little jump cut, gets about, and he's still running. He's getting about 5 or 6 yards. Some effort there from Jermichael Hasty. And now it's going to set them up on second down. They bring back the receivers into the game. And I don't know if ETN's hurt or not, but Hasty has actually, I think, been pretty effective this evening. And now they're going to have Jones to the left and Hasty to the left of him in the backfield here. And a throw to Marvin Jones. And Jones is covered by DJ Reed, immediately tackled, but a nice little out route from the veteran. So they get him involved. He wasn't really involved in the first half whatsoever. Now, a guy who has not been involved in this offense, I must say, is Zay Jones. And here they go to Christian Kirk off a bubble screen, able to get a few, tackled down by Michael Carter II after a few yards of a gain there. But I really like how the Jags are spreading the ball around. I think that they really could be a threat come playoff time. 2nd and 7 now for the Jags. See where they go with this next one. 2nd and 7, the snap. It's a handoff to Hasty. That goes nowhere. Shepard and Clemens in the backfield. So Nathan Shepard was from FIU a number of years ago. Picked him in like the 3rd round. And then Michael Clemens, a 4th round pick out of Texas A&M this year. Both making the play. And now we have a lot of quotes from Jaguars players about what Doug Peterson brings. Definitely been much more effective than Urban Meyer was last year. And now we have Hasty to the right of Lawrence in the backfield. Lawrence going to fire it over the middle. It's caught by Evan Ingram, covered by Sauce Gardner. Oh my goodness, we have a stiff arm fight for about 2 minutes. Ingram is having himself a night. They are giving him the ball every opportunity they can. That time it looks like he was trailed by the rookie corner, and he was no match for that. Wow, quick off the line by Ingram. Gets past the defense. Sauce does make the tackle after a stiff arm battle. That was about 3 swings from Evan Ingram. He gave him the paw about 3 times. He gave him a swipe. Now he's got 160 yards on the day. Quite a tight end performance if you are in your fantasy playoffs. And now they go to a different tight end. They go to Luke Farrell, and he spins for the first down, but there is a flag on the field. Well, see, this is exciting to watch. I mean, just seeing what the Jags do. I want to see the Jets put something on the board as well. Because what the Jags are doing, it looks like the penalty may be on right tackle Jawan Taylor. It seems maybe who this penalty is on. And it's going to be on number 75, Jawan Taylor. He was an ineligible man downfield. Don't see that all the time, but relatively. Happens relatively often. And now it's 1st and 15. Wow, that is the first penalty of the night for Jacksonville. Very interesting. And we have ETN now to the right of Lawrence. We have 3 receivers to the right and a tight end to the left. And then we get either a false start. I think it is. This time I think it's going to be on Walker Little, the second-year left tackle, replacing Cam Robinson in the lineup. And wow, that is killer. 2 penalties. Now you're looking at 1st and 20. 1st and 20 with 8.5 minutes to go in the 3rd. And now we have 2 receivers right. A motion from Zay Jones. Lawrence, ETN to his left. In the shotgun, looking to throw, avoids the rush, fires right, caught by Marvin Jones. And for a gain of about 3, that's going to make it about 2nd and 17 for the Jacksonville Jaguars. So Marvin Jones getting a few catches on this drive. Started, I don't think he had any in the first half. Maybe 1 or 2. And now Lawrence going to have 2 receivers to his right and 1 to his left. And fake the play to... And what was that? That was a fake play action. Then they go to Kirk over the middle, and it is dropped, perhaps a little inaccurate on that play, from Trevor. So that brings it to 3rd and 18. Agnew now comes out on the field, and he's going to replace Marvin Jones, I believe, there. Still can't believe Evan Ingram's just got grass all over the back of him, but because he's been going all over the place, and nobody else does, but it's just him. And now we have motion from Agnew. They're using him kind of as a gadget player, at least to make a distraction in the motion. And they give him a screenplay here, and he maybe picks up about 8, maybe gets back to the original line of scrimmage. But not going to get a first there. Now, is it, I believe, perhaps a field goal range? Yeah, it's a 41-yarder for Riley Patterson. On the upcoming kick, they went with a bubble screen to Agnew there. That puts him in field goal range. So that was a worthy play. And here we go. The kick is good. Going to make it 19-3. Or, sorry, 16-3. 16-3. 16-3. I thought they had 16 already, but it is 19-3. Sorry, 16-3. That's Trevor Lawrence's number. 16-3 for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now over the New York Jets. I was perhaps anticipating a bit of a closer game. I think it still a 2-possession game, but really the Jets have just not been able to do anything offensively, which has really hurt them. They're having struggles doing much of anything with the ball because their offensive line has been very lackluster this evening. And then they didn't have the receivers for a while, and now it's just like not being able to do anything. Victor Cruz. I have not seen Victor Cruz in a long time. He was a player. He was a stud back in the day. He was able to make some good plays for those New York Giants. Well, I forgot about him. He's an underrated guy because like I think he maybe made a few Pro Bowls, but never in Hall of Fame consideration. But like that's one of those guys I think like in 30 years when I'm looking back at like okay yeah they remember that guy and playing ball. Victor Cruz. When I started watching football, I was kind of at the end of, he didn't really have a long prime, but I kind of maybe got like a year, but I feel like it was the mid-2010s is when he was really good. I caught him maybe, I think he got hurt the first year or the second year I really started getting into the NFL. He was out for the year, and that kind of ended his career, unfortunately, because it's just a fun player to watch. So, now we will see what the Jets can do offensively because the Jags have been rolling. They've been making some great plays. Okay, now here we go. This year, 2012, 52 teams. 6 teams made the playoffs of using 3 or more quarterbacks. This is interesting. Wow. So it's possible to make the playoffs with 3 quarterbacks in a season, but the way that that Zach Wilson's playing right now, not looking good. But it's not even his fault really this evening. Few questionable decisions, but like. Oh, wow. What a play from Braxton Berrios. That is what you call awareness. Holy cow. He pulled the Ty Montgomery, is the most notable guy I can think of to play. Kick goes out of bounds, and I first thought, what are you doing catching it at the 3? But he makes it clear he's out of bounds. That brings the kick out of bounds up to the 40. Wow. That is unbelievable. That was a great play from Braxton Berrios, making an amazing play. That has moved the Jets' offense more than any play. That almost all day. That's the farthest. Like they only got the field goal because of the Trevor Lawrence fumble. They're gonna hand it off to Zonovan Knight, and he is stuffed in the backfield. It's a loss of 2. Yikes! That was just ugly. But then there's also a flag on the field, just wrapped up by at least 3 Jaguars. Wow. And it's a holding on Tyler Conklin just when you think this. Just like when you thought this couldn't get much worse. This is. The Jets have got to move it. The Jets have got to move the ball a little bit. And now we've got 2 receivers to his right. And we have a. Wow. Oh my. Jeez Louise. Immediate pressure. What is he supposed to do? This is. Looks like Tomlinson and McGovern perhaps responsible, but oh my goodness, who even got there? Like, there were at least 2 Jaguars that got the sack there. Jeremiah Ledbetter, or no, Jonathan, I think it's Jonathan Ledbetter. And Davin Hamilton. Davin Hamilton really got it. I forget which Ledbetter that is. I think it's Jonathan that the Jags have. No, they have Jeremiah. And now Zach Wilson rolls out to his right on a 2nd and 25. He's going to fire this thing deep. Actually has somebody, but it is not caught by Garrett Wilson. A little underthrown. Almost had that. Great coverage from Tyson Campbell. So they had the sack, with a lot of pressure, and then this is Zach trying to make a playoff platform. It's actually not a bad ball. Campbell just gets his hands in there. I should say it was like catchable if Campbell doesn't get his hands in there. Not a great ball, though, either. It was underthrown. Kind of a risky play, but wow. Now Wilson looks left the whole time, gets it to Corey Davis, and that was a brief play. It seems like Zach has taken all his shots on 2nd down, and then that leaves them still with 3rd and long, and then they end up kind of just going with a check down to make their punt better field position. I mean, this is just outrageously bad. They have not been able to block much at all, and it doesn't seem like anyone's getting wide open, and so that's really unfortunate. Braden Mann now out to punt again. And here we go. Punt goes left again. This dude just kicks it right. I think he's kicking it out of bounds on purpose. Oh, shanker, though. I think that was a shank. Flag on it. Let's see where this goes. Now the flag, can't tell if it's on Justin Hardy. Oh yeah, that was a face mask by far. By far that was a face mask. On Chris Claybrooks is who got held there. Was it maybe on both, though? Okay, so I don't play is over 15-yard penalty. So the punt is going through? I think that, I don't know. I believe the Jags have the ball still, and that they're just going to enforce it, because I believe that was on Justin Hardy. Well, okay, this is just furthering the disappointment for the Jets. They have not been able to move the ball. And I just don't even know where you go from here for them, because there's no blocking up front. Like, Zilch. Nada. Getting Garrett Wilson back at least potentially was going to give them an option offensively, but they have not done it. Honestly, I feel like I'm not loving the formations even that LaFleur is calling. Just an all-around disappointment so far, really. That the Jags now I hopefully will at least get to see some fun offense, because I mean the conditions are playing a part, but we're seeing the Jags move the ball, but the Jets are not moving the ball. They haven't gotten the run game going at all. Like, I think Knight got into the positives maybe. At halftime, I think he had 3 carries for 0 yards or so they're not running the ball because they know they can't block for it. And if they do, they're not doing it well, so then that leaves you the pass. That means also no threat of the play action either. It's just an all-around bad situation. I mean, they need some momentum going now because the Jags have all of it right now. Evan Ingram this evening has been an absolutely amazing player. Really stepping in there. This has been quite a performance. Quite a performance from the Jacksonville Jags. Wow. I had to check my fantasy lineup and see how I have one league with Ingram and Lawrence, but I also played Zay Jones, who's not necessarily doing great. By that I mean he has 0 points, but Ingram, go ahead, have yourself a day, buddy. Now, whatever house this is at, that's a great decorated place. Okay, now Snoop Connor gets the ball after a spin move. Oh, goodness. Somebody call somebody, because DJ Reed just got, oh my goodness. The rookie from Ole Miss in the 5th round just sent DJ Reed to the ground. Call the fire department. Oh my goodness. That was nasty. Oh goodness. Oh, that was... When the 3rd string running back is absolutely tearing it through, that's when you know this is dangerous. And now you got a 3-yard run from him. Snoop Connor, go ahead, get yourself recognition, because that was impressive. He did a great cut, and then he just sent DJ Reed to the ground. Wow. The Jets have almost allowed, and they have in certain categories allowed more than their average per game, and we are not even to the end of the 3rd quarter yet. Well, it's 3rd and 5, but it's been an exciting 5 yards thanks to Snoop Connor. Wow. Okay, now we have a snap. It's going to be a pass. Rolling to his left. Avoids the pressure. He's going to take off himself and gets it to Zay Jones. I think he was behind the line of scrimmage. He caught that. Wow. They're calling it no. I think Zay Jones maybe didn't catch the ball. I think they might review this. Oh, it hit the ground. Barely. That's got to be one of the closest ones I've seen. But that hit the ground. Unfortunately, I could have used that for my fantasy points, but... Well, here's Cook. Barrios on the return. It's a high kick going to the right side. Kind of a shanker. It only ends up at the 20 for Cook. Well, couldn't get anything going there, but Snoop Connor certainly gave us some entertainment. That was an exciting stiff arm. Well, it's been a tale of 2 teams, tale of 2 offenses, tale of 2 quarterbacks because of how their supporting casts have played. Even at the end there, when Lawrence had to scramble out, he had blocking up front, and so that allowed him to move. Just Wilson has not had that opportunity. And it's not like he's been making anything out of the poor supporting cast, but they're obviously not giving him a great supporting cast, so he hasn't really been able to do anything. Once again, they literally, according to PFF, don't have a startable tackle. They have 2 guys outside the top 64. Well, BK is just dominating the commercial world. I mean, just they're everywhere. So this is Jets have got to move the ball. I mean, I don't know how many, like, seriously, if that strip fumble doesn't happen, I think they'd have a goose egg on the scoreboard right now. They haven't been able to move the ball whatsoever for some reason. Like, and well, I guess that reasoning is, once again, the poor line. I just think the play calling this evening has actually been very unimaginative as well. I just don't get, with the way they're playing, they can't protect anybody anyways. I'd at least get 3 receivers out there on most plays. And now they're starting to get there, but like there's a lot of times it just feels like they're kind of just bland play calls. It seems to me. So like they're doing the motions, but they're not like really making any great play designs right now. Okay, well, now they got a Top Gun Garrett Wilson graphic, but like tonight has not been. So what is he up to now? 979 yards? Okay, so he's getting closer. Most ever by Jets rookie. I thought he was maybe going to top, but right now, the way they're playing, I don't think he's going to get to 1,000. He's got 13 yards this evening. And Streveler comes in. Let's see, did Wilson get benched, or is it just for a quick read option play to Streveler? If Streveler comes out, now it's like it's obvious. You know that every time Streveler's in the game, it's a read option. But no, Streveler's still... Oh, but Zach is still ready, though. Who'd they have in there? Ty Johnson off the read option as well. They're just putting in some backups. Well, Streveler's back in here for another play. Activated from the practice squad today. Ty Johnson to the right of him. 2 receivers to his left. Fakes the pass. Now they are going to pass it. Fakes the run. Check down to Elijah Moore, who runs really far sideways but gets a first down. They've done almost more in 2 plays with Streveler than Wilson has been able to do all night. Wow. The fans are happy that Streveler's in the game. Now, it's interesting they go to Streveler and not Flacco either. Makes sense. I think Streveler has a little bit more upside right now. He's just a gamer. But Zach's still ready. I think they're going to get him back in. But right now they're on a hot hand with Streveler. He's ready to go. And here is a run. He couldn't get through much. Maybe I gain him 1. So he's been around. He's played in the CFL. He just ripped off the hand towel thing and tossed it. This dude's a legend. I forget. I think that Streveler did play a little bit for the Cardinals in the regular season, if I remember correctly. He was also on the Dolphins for a brief time earlier this year, I believe. Now, motion from Elijah Moore off the play action. Streveler's looking. He fires it deep. Open. It was underthrown, but C.J. Uzomah makes the catch. I think if he puts a decent ball in that, that's a touchdown, but at least they get a huge gain. That's the biggest play of the Jets for the night. They finally get something going on the offensive side of the ball, and it takes switching up the QB. If I'm not mistaken, though, Uzomah was wide open. Oh, my gosh. Man, though, if Streveler throws a better ball on that, that's a touchdown. Like, Uzomah was wide open. I know that's still great for the Jets, but man, he was wide open. Now a handoff to Ty Johnson, who gets it going down the left sideline. first down. The Jets are moving. Wilson might be benched for the whole game. There is a flag, though, that might bring it back. Looks like it's going to be on Dwayne Brown, the veteran. It's unfortunate. Saleh not feeling that. This is... Okay, so, yeah, okay. That was... I don't know. Yeah, he did. Okay, the other angle showed a little bit more why it was a hold. He put his hands up like he didn't do anything. I don't think he needed to do that, but 1st and 19, and Streveler here. We got Corey Davis going inside on the motion, and now we have Knight in his backfield to the right. Knight going backwards. Just lost about 3 yards. It's going to be about 2nd and 22. 23. They just... Penalties are killing them. When they're not, like, making mistakes, it's like penalties are killing them. So it's 2nd and 23 now. They go up play action. Streveler, he's got pressure behind him, but he just takes off and he zooms. Probably got a nice 10 out of that off the play action. That was decent. There we go. Nice little play. You can run the ball a little bit. And now we head on to the 4th quarter. Still a 16-3 ball game. Not going to call it over based on what we have seen, this past week with some great comebacks. Even the greatest of all time. But this is Streveler is giving him a spark. Streveler is indeed giving the Jets a spark this evening. And I think that, honestly, the truth is, like, when you have kind of a poor supporting cast, if you get a guy that is mobile, it is going to allow you to do a little bit more, because it's kind of allows you to make up for that poor supporting cast a little bit more. Yeah, I'd say this. The Jets, if they had some guys healthy, actually, I think would be pretty solid right now. Like, you plug in Becton and you plug in Vera Tucker. Let me make sure there isn't anybody else, like, on their reserve that I'm forgetting about that. Like, they get back and they'll be totally fine. I mean, so Becton, you and Vera Tucker, you get back. Yeah, Max Mitchell, like, was another tackle option that they probably could have been playing right now. That's really it. I guess Cedric Ogbuehi too, but, like, he's a veteran option. But it's really just their tackles to me have been pretty lackluster this evening. But even the interior, not necessarily been great either. So, I mean, it's like, it's hard to kind of take anything out of this because not really much has happened. So, I don't know. Like, I also don't know where you go with the Jets right now, because you're actually getting, I'd say, some momentum with Streveler. But at the same time, it's one of those things where the supporting cast around Zach was not very good. But, like, at the same time, we're obviously seeing what Streveler does. I really thought they were only going to put in Streveler for a play. And now I get why they activated him earlier today. Because it's clear now they maybe had plans to use him. Because they threw him in for one play earlier this evening. And then that ended up coming back because of a penalty. But now Streveler goes up the middle, stiff arms it first down at the 31-yard line, I believe, there. And so this is just a spark that the Jets have not had all evening. There's a chance I get to edit that right side of the scoreboard again. Not had to do that for a long time. And great job by Strevler here, able to get just enough to get through Rayshon Jenkins for that first. Also, Laken Tomlinson, solid block. Read option, faked out Josh Allen. Running to the left, Strevler's fighting. He's about 2 yards short. This man is a fighter. I feel like they're running an old-fashioned college offense right now, but you know what? It's working. So they are moving the ball. So this is what a Strevler potentially going to become the hero of this game right now, the way things are going. 2nd and 2 now. He's been on the practice squad this year. He's been playing pretty well this evening. This might be the first game they've had him active, and they go straight up option. That's like a classic college play, and that time it didn't work. They lose about 3. But that's going to set them up at 3rd down. You got to think they might look to pass here, which maybe hasn't been what they've been doing well this evening. But Strevler, I still look at, though, if he puts that ball to Uzama on there, he's got a touchdown. He's got a touchdown. But still, that gave him a spark. But yeah, like, I agree with what they're saying. Like, there's all of a sudden the line is actually in the playbook seems to actually be, when you put the other quarterback in, threw that right to Corey Davis, and then it's dropped. A little behind. I think it was really catchable, though. Maybe a little late, but that's got to be caught. Yeah, that's right in the breadbasket. Oh, that's unfortunate. Slippery conditions. Wow, the beard is just going out of Strevler's helmet. I mean, that's just unbelievable there. 4th and 4, they're going for it from the 25.5-yard line. Here we go. This could potentially be your ball game, folks. Fires this left, and I think that was dropped. Oh, he caught it. No way. The ball seems a little off. It seemed a little low to me. They're going no huddle because they got to get this thing off. Wow. Oh, is this a catch? I think it is. Wilson had possession. They tried to fight it out at the end. They get the snap off, handoff immediately to, I believe that's going to be Ty Johnson. It is. Fighting for a few yards. That was a nice no-huddle execution from Chris Strevler there. And Zach Wilson just sits on the sideline thinking, guys, why didn't you play like this for me? Because Zach was not doing great this evening. But supporting cast was also not doing good. They're also, Ty Johnson getting in there, actually making some plays. I don't know why they weren't using him. Now Michael Carter is going to get in there. To the left, they're going to hand the ball off to him. He bounces off a defender. He's about a yard short of the first. And that's going to put him at 3rd down and about 1. And this is going to be huge again here for the Jets. They got to come out with some points here to me to keep the momentum. Strevler's giving them something that they haven't had. Now they go. Okay, here we go. Play action. It's false start. Yeah, I think. Now they went under center there. I think it's going to be, what did they call? Oh, they called a timeout. Was it on the offense or defense? What's the call here? I can't see what they're... Oh, I think it was just a substitute ball or something like that. Didn't have enough time on the play clock, and now they reset it. Well, here we go. Strevler, they move Knight to the left. Strevler hands it off to Knight and goes nowhere. I'm sorry, but Zonovan Knight has not been having a good night. I had him in Fantasy League too. I don't think I started him though, but Ty Johnson's been, I'd say, the most effective back that they've had this evening, above Michael Carter as well. Oh, I just realized in one of my fantasy leagues, it was a 2-week league for a game. I thought I was eliminated, but no, we still got another week. Okay, well, now we have a huge play. 4th and 2. Strevler fires it into nobody. Oh, overthrown. Now they lose that opportunity. That was huge. That might be your ball game, folks. Had Wilson intended there, I don't necessarily think it was a great decision either way, but either way, it was a bad ball. Incomplete. Almost picked by Darius Williams again. And that's gonna bring this comeback train to a halt that we thought maybe Strevler was taken out of the station, but it's gonna slow it down. And now if you're the Jags, you're just gonna look to chew up the clock. I'd say you get one more drive from the Jags, and then it's like if they can score it all, you might as well wrap this up, put a bow on it, put it under the Christmas tree. This thing is wrapped up. The Jets finally had some momentum going. Can't quite finish it out. And I think it did come down to Strevler does spark something that Wilson doesn't. I think he's more effective in the running aspect. You can do some different play calls with him. He also honestly is more experienced, even with his minimal NFL experience. But in the end, I think it came down to his lack of passing ability. I mean, it was a huge play still. Like, people won't talk about it, but I think that play to Uzomah at the off the play action, if that ball is further ahead, I think that thing is potentially a touchdown. But instead, they come down to a 4th down. He throws it to Wilson. It's a little off target. Well, quite off target. And that results in them turning the ball over. Very unfortunate for that. Because they finally had momentum going. They hadn't had momentum going all evening. Finally started moving the ball. Because once again, if that first play, strip sack fumble on Lawrence doesn't happen, this team probably is, well, maybe they wouldn't have gone for it, so maybe they would have got the 3 now, but like, there's a chance they have 0 points on the board. Interesting list of chances to win the Super Bowl. We have 2 teams near 20%, and now quite an effort from Strevler there, but not going to do it. Now the Jags take over at the 15. We've got Lawrence here. Motion from Christian Kirk. Play action. Fake to ETN. He fires it to the left, and it's caught by Zay Jones, or was it dropped? Don't know. Would love to at least make sure he doesn't have 0 points on a fantasy team of mine, but I think he caught that one. Let's take I think he caught it. That's a huge play to just get him out of kind of backed up territory. Wow. Okay, so Lawrence averaging 2.21 seconds per throw. Pretty fast. Now we have 3 receivers to Lawrence's left. It was called incomplete. And now he's going to look that way again to the left. It's going to be Christian Kirk caught for a 1st down. And that's going to get him out of poor territory and keeps it rolling. Well, Kirk might be nearing 1,000 yards now on the season. But with 10 minutes to go left in this game, the way things are going, Lawrence might try to wrap this game up with a decent drive here. A touchdown to me would... I know we've seen some crazy stuff this week, but I'd say a touchdown probably seals this. ETN running, and he's about 1 yard short, but he may have been down earlier than that. He kind of slipped, dove forward a little bit. So ETN's had 19 carries, 74 yards, almost 75. Just kind of a decent game for a running back, there. And now the Jags go empty set. 3 receivers left, 2 right. And Ingram points out something on the defense. They're going to snap the ball. Pressure immediately from Mosley, but he stumbles. So Lawrence runs to the left, and that's a first down. Lawrence has been clutch off the scrambles this evening. Wow. That's been a difference maker. I mean, here they bring Mosley on a blitz right up the middle. Nobody even blocks him. Shatley doesn't even pick him up. But that doesn't matter. Lawrence luckily recognizes it, immediately rolls left and makes Mosley trip. First down. Lawrence is playing magical right now. I'm telling you, this team could be scary. They're building momentum going into this thing. I think that they actually are looking pretty good. They hand it off to ETN and get a few yards out of it. They're really just looking to drain the clock. We got a little over 8 minutes left in this ball game. Wow, just Lawrence with his legs has been, I mean, he was sneaky mobile at Clemson, but he's really shown it tonight. And now here we go. Let's see what they roll with. I think they're going to bring another empty set. They're going to probably pass the ball again. This is insane. They just are rolling with it. Immediate play. Oh my goodness. Zay, you gotta at least catch one ball for me. Let's see. So Zach Wilson this evening. Here's what I would say. I don't think he didn't play well, but I'm gonna say this. I personally did not think his receiving his supporting cast is not there. I mean, we've talked about it, but the offensive line this evening was terrible. And, the Jags are not even, they don't even have the number 1 pick, but he hasn't been a crazy difference maker. It's been Roy Robinson Harris and Dogwayne Smoot as Lawrence with a beautiful ball to Zay Jones. But here's the thing. Zach, the pressure's been all over him. And he took a lot of sacks. And I really thought what hurt the Jets in this game was that brief stretch where they had Berrios, and when Garrett Wilson got hurt, it really just took down the play calling to me because you'd only have Elijah Moore and Corey Davis as receivers out there. I mean, I was a little surprised by the benching at that point, but I'm not going to disagree with it completely. But it just is one of those things where I don't think Zach could catch a break. He wasn't doing anything to help the situation, but he also wasn't given anything further. Here's a little sweep to Zay Jones. It really was just another kind of Zach Wilson night of what it has been in the pros. It's unfortunate for him that he wasn't able to put out a good performance and kind of maybe show a reason, because what you saw from tonight, when Mike White's healthy again, they're just going to go back to him. And in the past, when coming out of college, I really saw something in Zach, but the flaws that we've seen that I saw in Zach's game that I put as weaknesses, even if you go back and see what the graphic. So his future is not looking good after tonight. I mean, it already wasn't, but I mean, I'm just seeing some things that it seems like he is kind of just spun into a spiral. And so looking back, can you still get the guy that we saw at BYU? I think that the weaknesses that I saw coming out of college specifically were the hero ball, and I thought he threw the ball, and it was a little bit of a time. I specifically remember I got comments on when I broke him down, that it was a nitpick of he's throwing the ball a little too hard. I think he just tries to do a little too much and doesn't do the simple things right. Here's the deal. If I was a GM, I actually wouldn't mind taking a shot on him. Now, am I spending a first-round pick on Zach Wilson? Not even close. I mean, I honestly think what Baker went for to the Panthers this year is probably, and that might be overselling it, unfortunately, with Zach. But the tools are, he can chuck the ball. But just the reading of the defenses has just not been great. I mean, this evening, he just kind of gets flustered, I think, under the pressure. I mean, in college, he was able to move outside the pocket pretty well, but this evening, when the pressure was there, he wasn't able to do much out of it. I'm interested to see what the Jets do here if they bring Strevler back in. It just was kind of unfortunate. I really don't think Zach was dealt very good cards here, but he wasn't even able to make anything out of it. And now a beautiful punt from the Jags. I completely agree with that. I'm not giving up on Zach. Like, I don't think he's obviously not playing good right now, and I'm not gonna admit that. But like, it's only year 2. I really just, the situation around him is breaking down. I mean, if Becton and Vera Tucker were healthy, I think that's a different question right now. Because once again, let me pull up this is the line they're working with right now. And at least according to PFF, they don't have a starting caliber tackle. They don't have a top 64 guy. And, you know, even McGovern, who's been, at least PFF-wise, their only decent lineman, tonight has not, like, been unbelievable. The supporting cast there is just not. I completely agree with you. I personally think I'm not giving up on him yet. And it's hard because I think the Jets are. I don't think there seems to be another element that we don't even talk about, but there's something wrong, I feel like, with the locker room, because there's a reason. I just don't know what to do, because if I'm a GM, I'm taking a shot on him. I'd send a team a 4th round pick immediately. I honestly, this is risky. I'd maybe think about sending a 3rd. To me, he still has upside. We just gotta cool it down a little bit. I mean, I know it's an outlier, but like Geno Smith this year, coming into year almost 10, just needed a new situation, given kind of the keys of the car. Now Zach has been given the keys, but you know, it feels like he's kind of only been able to go the speed limit of 30, and hasn't gotten on the highway yet. I just think, specifically, I honestly didn't think the play calling was great this evening either. I'm with you there that I think that he's a guy that, given a new situation, now the question is who. Because if I'm a team, he hasn't shown enough to really say, okay, we're trading for him. This is the guy. Like, I'd see him in a very similar situation to where, like, the Colts and Panthers have been over the last few years, where maybe you trade him to be a potential guy. If I'm a GM, honestly, depending on what team I am, I think about trading for Zach. Now, I haven't finished my QB scouting for the process. I've fully scouted Bryce Young, CJ Stroud. I've watched a few games of Levis. And Levis reminds me a lot, actually, of Zach, but just a little bit more poised in the pocket. And then, like, I haven't watched Anthony Richardson yet, but it sounds like he's kind of a high upside tools guy. If I'm a team that needs a quarterback of the future, as Strevler gets sacked there, I'm thinking about trading for Zach with, like, a mid-round pick there, and then picking another guy, and basically seeing who can work. Because I agree that I think he needs a new situation. And I think given a new situation, he might be able to perform. It's just, I really don't. I haven't been able to compare this because it feels like, and here they show Mike White on the screen, it feels different than any other situation I've been in, because it doesn't feel like one of those players over last year's, like maybe a Daniel Jones, or I don't know who else to kind of compare to, but like just somebody that on paper at first some people aren't fully sold on, and they end up actually doing all right and you stick with them. I feel like this, though, it feels a lot more likely to kind of give up on him, but I'm not willing to do that quite yet. I don't know what's going to happen to him. I don't think, I'll say this, the bottom line, I don't think his future's with the Jets anymore. But I wouldn't rule him out at least getting a shot somewhere, because the physical tools are there. Now Streveler with an underthrown ball. I mean, we're seeing, for some reason, Streveler has provided a bit of a spark right now. They're not doing anything, though. But, like, Streveler can't even throw the ball like Zach can, you know? So it's like, I would have stuck with, I would have just, let's ride out this. And see what Zach has. Because, let's be honest, Streveler is not your QB of the future. This reminds me kind of like, I think it made sense to switch, like, to Nick Foles from Matt Ryan, but, like, I would have gone with probably Sam Ehlinger, because at least you see if you have a future. Okay, Elijah Moore here doesn't get the first. Streveler has provided a spark in this game for the Jets, but I don't see him ever being a piece of this future. So I would have just stuck with Zach Wilson just to get some more tape. Because unless they really think after what they saw tonight, it's over. Because I'm not going to say this is a fair shot. Like, it was raining 3/4 of the game. And so I really don't know how this thing is going to happen. But Garrett Wilson here, he was making a move and he fumbles it, recovered by Trey Herndon. I completely agree. I think it's a mentally broken thing right now. I think he is mentally, he needs a fresh start. Something just didn't get right with him out of the gate. It seems like a mentally broken player. Wow, did a foot cause that fumble? I think a foot just caused that fumble. Foye Oluokun with his foot just caused a fumble. A foot, they call that a triple F. That's a foot forced fumble. But it seems very mental to me. I think that he just needs a new scenery. And I think that mental goes back to where it's like he's questioning, a foot. Yeah, I can't believe that. That was a crazy play. He needs a new situation. It goes back to what people are talking about. He is missing the layups, but going for the home runs. Because he clearly has the arm strength. That's never been a question. That's always there. Now, something I'm really surprised about is one of my biggest strengths of him coming out of BYU is his positioning. Like, I thought he could back shoulder the ball really, really well. I haven't necessarily seen a ton of great positioning throws from him. I think he just needs to kind of work on just kind of simple stuff, and I think a new scenery would work. And once again, I'm actually a little surprised. I haven't really been able to fully break it down. The play calling tonight, I'm not super impressed with what they're given to work with. And so, I don't know. I think this is a wacky situation. I can't even compare it. Like, we've had some QB trades of kind of broken prospects over the last 3 years. Like Darnold even. Mayfield. Where you give up at maybe the year, 4 stage. But this is pretty early. I don't know there. Yeah, how about a foot fumble? Foot forced fumble. Foye Oluokun. Perhaps that might be one of the best plays of the week. That might be one of the best plays of the week. A foot fumble. That Garrett Wilson just, has a fumble now in his stat sheet that isn't even really his fault. That was quite a play. Well, next Thursday, Cowboys Titans. We'll see. Maybe I'll be able to get something going for that. That'll be interesting. Well, at this point, it's Jaguars got the game, but we're gonna finish this series here. We're gonna finish the game. So Jaguars, assuming they pull this out, and I'm assuming they will. 7. Yeah, for sure. The Raiders play was insane. That can't be understated. This though is just straight luck. What? That they just showed the replay from the other side. That is pure luck. Yeah, Raiders though, without a doubt, that play. This last week was one of the best football weeks ever. Since I've seen. 1383 consecutive snaps. Now that is an Iron Man right there. Wow. Yeah, that the Raiders play that can't change. That thing was insane. I never like your tie. It's a tie game, and they go with that. I've never seen that where they go with the lateral. We got motion from Ingram. I'm assuming they're just gonna run the clock out. They give it to ETN. Slips through kind of a tackle from behind. Brought down by a group that includes Shepard. I think Franklin Myers got in there as well. Well, 4 minutes left. Running out the clock. They go with another commercial break. Yeah, Raiders play was insane. The Jefferson catch as well has to be up there for sure. Um, there's been a lot of good football this year. There's been some crazy stuff that has happened, but I'm gonna tell you this foot fumble is definitely interesting. That is what that's crazy. Yeah, these commercials are getting like it doing something like this. Like kind of makes me realize how many commercials there are, and it's like that is a lot of like I don't need to know about Patrick Mahomes' jazz bath. Like, yes, the commercial kickoff commercial, so real, so real. It's just they do that. It's the timing of it is so bad. Like, or even when was it earlier tonight? It was after Trevor had all the turf on him. They just went to a commercial, and I feel like they didn't necessarily have a reason to. I mean, I know that, like, okay, I guess he needed a second to get the turf off of his face, but like, I don't know. That was interesting. And it's the same commercials too. Now I haven't really considered. I mean, so now this is basically streaming now. Like this is Prime Video streaming, and then does it compare to live TV? I think both have about the same same commercials. It's a lot either way. But now looks like I would assume the Jags are gonna wrap this game up, but they just gotta chew the clock out. But that commercial break delays it a little bit here. So now the Jags are actually pretty close to the end zone. They might put up some more points on the board. Well, so only a total of 19 points. I have no idea what the over-under was for this game, but this is a low-scoring ball game in total. 3rd and 5. I think Doug's going to call up a heater pass play here. I think Doug's going to call play action. So they go under center. Looks like kind of a bunch. Let's see. No, they go 2 tight ends to the. Oh, yep, they go play action, but immediate pressure. Oh, what a spin move! He fires it. Okay, that was random. Pressure was there. Trevor somehow gets out of it. He throws it nowhere. Understandably so. I thought they were maybe going to lose some yards on that. Trevor has been a difference maker with his legs tonight. Fakes out John, spins out of Quincy Williams, and then ETN with a nice block gets crushed by Michael Clemens, but wow, he took a hit. Oh, he landed on that shoulder. Man, that was tough. Oh yeah, that's got to be. That was tough. That was a pretty good game too. I caught the end of it, and that one I caught all the end of it for sure, and that was quite a game. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. We're doing a lot of NFL content currently. Eventually, we'll be flipping into draft content, and yeah, we'll be rolling. Well, Riley Patterson here with a kick right down the middle. It's going to make it 19-3. Jaguars, let me update that. So, for all intents and purposes, this game is wrapped up. You can put a bow on it, put it under the Christmas tree, and we'll see. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate you tuning in, and we'll have some more stuff like this shortly. So, with that being said, we still have a few minutes left in this game. So, we're getting ads for iPhones now. I don't know if you are looking, maybe it's Christmas time, last minute shopping. Never mind, it's a Google phone. My bad. That's a Google phone. The Pixel. We love to get that. Now, we got another ad. Might have to start giving breakdowns of rating the ads. Now, this one is now we got Victor Cruz again. He makes it back. You might as well call him an actor at this point. But, okay, so I'm assuming they're going to just throw Streveler back in there at the end. I don't know about... It gave him a spark, but I still look back. I don't think Streveler's a part of this team's future. So playing him now and not getting more film out of Zach, where at the end of the year you could just really put it all together, I would have done that. Like, the game was not over. Like, Streveler, yes, has given him a spark, but I look at, like, so they don't get the fourth down, because he can't really pass the ball. But also, specifically, that play to Uzama, I'm telling you, I think Zach could have put it farther ahead and probably gotten a touchdown. So, I don't know. I'm kind of torn there. I think that this is a weird situation for the Jets. I can't believe Mike White has just kind of put himself into the fold, as he actually might be this team's future starting quarterback. Well, as they start talking about playoff droughts, the Jets, I thought, would have maybe been able to end it this season, but they have been fumbling the bag. And yeah, speaking of remaining schedules, it's on their screen, but let me put it on my screen. Remaining schedules for these two teams. We have the Jaguars, who will rise to 7-8, and they will play Houston. And if they win that, and Tennessee maybe loses a game or two, they'll be playing for the division that last week. That's going to be huge. Now the Jets have two tough games, both on the road ahead of them. It's going to make their playoff push very difficult. Playing against Geno Smith and the Seahawks and Tua and the Dolphins. A nice little return here from Braxton Berrios, by the way, but that's what they have left on the schedule. And the playoff picture, this is going to bring the Jets down. I really don't like their odds at this point. I really don't think anybody below the Jaguars, like in that row, like the Raiders, Browns, Steelers, Colts, I basically think they're out, but they're not mathematically out. So I think that this really hurts the Jets. Because I think the Chargers control their own destiny right now, I would say personally. As well as I like the Dolphins shot a little bit more. Jags, though, I'm telling you, if they get in the dance, they're getting dangerous. I think they'll be a dangerous team. Like we've seen tonight, they can run an offense. They can put some points on the board. I mean, it's only 19, but I like the creative stuff. What Doug is drawing up there, it's working. Empty set for Streveler here. Two receivers left and right. Dropping back. Rolling. Avoids the pressure. He's going to take it himself. Throws it to the left. A nice little dump down to Michael Carter in the flat. Maybe trying to get something last second going here. That was very impressive. He kept the play alive. And so Zach Wilson didn't have the jacket on at first because he wasn't going to realize he was benched. But yeah, here's the QB comparison. 9 for 18, 8 for 12. Yeah, I don't know. They're both just not necessarily amazing. But Streveler here, avoiding the pressure. And this is what he does bring. He brings the legs. He's juking, kind of stumbling across himself. He's faster than he looks. He looks like he would be kind of awkwardly running. But he's got a little mobility. So Streveler may trying to make his way into the future QB1 conversation. The conversation is changing rapidly. A little check down to Michael Carter again, just racking up some receiving yards. Looks like the rain might still be coming down there in New York City. Well, New Jersey, actually, but in New York. And now we have ourselves a false start. And that describes it. And it's Dwayne Brown again. He's had at least 2. I think he's had 2. That's a veteran player, too. You don't like to see that. So that's going on. But now it's 1st and 15, 2 minutes and 22 seconds left in the game. And Streveler drops back, fires it to the right, and it's Conklin right at the line of scrimmage. Maybe got a yard. So we have ourselves a 2nd and probably 14. Yep. Empty set now. 3 left, 2 right. And he steps up, rolls to the left. He's looking. He's going to take it himself, and he fumbles the ball out of bounds after hit by Foye Aluakon. Getting in a little bit of a jabbering match here. He's talking some smack. He's saying, hey, I was going out of bounds, and Foyer's like, hey, that's a valid tackle. So now Jets fans in the ponchos, unfortunately seeing some losses. Giants-Vikings is going to be a big game. Big game. And there's a few other ones. So now we have 3 games on Christmas. And the rest, it's going to be weird. They're like all on Saturday. It's going to feel like college football or something. But I don't know. That's going to be weird. All NFL on a Saturday. Christmas Eve. And so 3rd and 12. He's got Knight now, I believe. No, Ty Johnson to the right of him. But Knight did not have a great game. We unfortunately have, who's that, Corey Peters down? That's unfortunate. That's a veteran guy, kind of trying to stick around. He, fell over mid-play. No, that's Darwin Smoot. That's even, well, nothing's worse, one more, but that's a more impactful injury. He's been having a good night. That's unfortunate. He got hurt mid-play. He went down. Oh, no. Oh, that's actually bad. He tried to get off, and he just, it looked like he stepped wrong with his foot. Oh, that's unfortunate, man. Oh. Smoot was actually having a good game. He was down though. Shoot. He that's a non-contact. He pushed off. Might be an ankle or something. Maybe a calf. You don't like seeing injuries like that. That's a bad one. Because Smoot was having a good night too. Him and Robertson Harris have been balling on the defensive line. Actually. It's unfortunate. Now Streveler takes a snap. Safety blitz. Holy cow, that was a ball and a half, but incomplete. Wilson may want some PI. I thought that thing was going a lot farther than it was. It looked like he was firing a rocket, but it was maybe only a 30-yarder. Now we got a fan getting mad at somebody else for whatever reason. But I guess they're looking at the NFC playoff picture, even though this game has nothing to do with it. But got to keep people in the loop. I mean, I can do the same here. That is what we have currently. A lot of teams still in the hunt, but I wouldn't say actually. But these teams, there's a lot of good teams out there. And it is officially kneel time for Jaguars. They brought in C.J. Beathard, the backup. That's almost going to do it, folks. When the game is over, I will go until the last snap, but basically wrapped up. So what does this do? So the Jaguars are going to go to 7-8, really in contention. This is a great win for them to stay in the hunt for the division. And then for the Jets, falling below by 500. A lot of competition for those spots. I really don't think they're going to make it at this point. Really unfortunate. They have really fumbled the bag over the last few weeks to make the playoffs. They were in pretty good position. So, I guess if you are a regular viewer of the channel, you know most weeks, every week, we do guest picks. Well, we luckily get to start 1-0 this week. I did pick the Jags. We're the underdogs, but that was a good pick to start out the week. Love to start 1-0. So, clock stripping down. They're going to need this thing out. I greatly appreciate everyone sticking around to this point in the program. It's been an enjoyable evening. A lot of good, a lot of bad football, but it's a good time here on the Riley's Red Zone channel. So, I don't know what it's going to look like. I'll for sure get the weekly picks video out. I'm also going to be trying a few new things. I hopefully might get some more content out. I've still got over a week left. A week and a half almost of Christmas break. So I'm trying to maximize it. But this is something I wanted to do. I haven't been able to do it since it was the 2020 week 1 is the last time I did one of these. So excited to bring these back. And we'll see. Maybe I might be able to do one next week. It looks like a good game. But I greatly appreciate everyone sticking around. And yeah, I think that's gonna wrap it up. So what a game. 19-3, your final score from the Jet Stadium. And I will see you in some very soon video. So thank you.